Hi, everybody. My name's Mike, and this is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks so much for tuning in, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And tonight I have many videos ready for you tonight. I have many videos, many videos. Because that's what I do. I prepare. This takes me hours to prepare for you guys. I know you think, most of the YouTubers come out and they turn on their switch and they fucking go blah, 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 blah. Okay, I prepare dozen videos for you. I'm ready to take care of business here. They have to be clipped out of hours and hours and hours of news, which I have to go through hours and hours and hours of news in order to find these clips that I think are worthy of your viewing time. And I do it day in, day out. 5 days a week, every night, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And here we are, back again, same Mox time, same Mox channel. So, thanks so much for joining us, because it's always better when you're here. One of the things I've been talking about is that I have never seen so many so-called liberals defending Liz Cheney, a staunch conservative. Again, Liz Cheney being the single sitting member of Congress who has profiteered off of the events of 9/11 more than any other single sitting member of Congress. Liz Cheney and her family have profiteered off 9/11, the events of September 11th, 2001, endlessly. And as long as she's in power, she will continue to do. She'll continue to vote for every single fucking war that she can vote to keep going. And why? Because she makes money off. As long as the wars keep going, she makes lots and lots of money. Liz Cheney is a horrible piece of shit human being who should be locked in prison for the rest of her life with Dick Cheney and all the rest of her family members who make money off of fucking wars of choice based on lies, solely to make rich people more rich. Fuck those people. And fuck Canada. And by the way, I'm not saying fuck Canadians. I'm saying fuck Canada as in fuck the Canadian government. Okay? Fuck the Canadian government. What? You guys, you go and you search Google and you type in Proud Boys. Okay? And then you look at the images. Okay? You look at the images of the Proud Boys. It's fucking American flags, American flags, American flags, American flags. Okay? Oh, they're domestic terrorists, right? American flags, thin blue line American flags. Oh, they're domestic terrorists. What the fuck are you talking about, Canada? Who the fuck do you think you are, Canada? Fuck you, Canada. And again, I'm not talking about Canadians. I'm talking about Canadian politicians and the Canadian government. Fuck those people, just like the U.S. government. And the U.S. politicians, fuck them. I'm not saying fuck Democrats. I'm not saying fuck Republicans. I'm saying fuck all these goddamn politicians because I've had enough of them. They don't respect you. They don't give a shit about freedom. And they're terrified by goddamn free speech. After taking a vow to protect the Constitution of the United States, in other words, taking a vow to protect your freedom of speech, then they fucking shit all over it. Okay? Those people need to go to jail as traitors. Okay? You break your oath to the Constitution, you are a motherfucking traitor, and you belong in prison. So we can make examples out of you pieces of shit, so that the next pieces of shit who come behind you know that they better not be as big a pieces of shit as you are. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. Fuck you pieces of shit. Fuck you straight to hell. Go to prison. Do not pass go. Go there for fucking ever. End of story. And why? In order to make the world a safer place for little children. In order to make our country and our freedom of speech and our Constitution protected from the evil fucking villains who chip away at it every goddamn day. Fuck those pieces of shit. In case I haven't made myself clear yet. There. I'm feeling much better now. Who'd like to have a bong hit? This guy. Are you guys having any fun yet? I am having so much fun right now. Fuck the U.S. government. Let's all chant it together. Fuck the U.S. government. Fuck the U.S. government. Fuck the U.S. government. Fuck them straight to hell. Is that an act of sedition? Is it? Encouraging other people to all chant along, fuck the U.S. government? Huh? Is that an act of sedition? Am I being seditious right now? Fuck the U.S. government! I think we should have a bong hit. Again, this fucking evil government wants to keep you from having marijuana. Why? Because it joins us all together. It connects the people. Cannabis, it makes you relax to where you're not afraid of your neighbor, even if they are wearing a mask. Oh, we all gotta wear these stupid masks. I don't have to be afraid of you. Unlike what the U.S. government wants, which is terrified. They want you terrified of your fucking neighbor. They want you too terrified to leave your fucking home. They want you terrified when you go to the grocery store that you might die because someone breathed on you. That's who the U.S. government is. That's who the U.S. media is, which is part of the U.S. government. Fuck them all to hell. Don Lemon, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson. Fuck them all to hell. They need to go to prison along with all the politicians because they help propel these wars. They help keep the wars in place. They help fuck the Constitution. They help fuck the U.S. people. They lied to us about the last election. They refused they banned, basically, they blocked all information about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's business in China, which is real. And why did they block it? Why did they ban it? Because they're manipulating our fucking elections. The media, the big tech, they gotta go. I mean, I think Facebook, Twitter, YouTube should be immediately seized by the U.S. government. Unfortunately, the U.S. government is currently occupied by piece of shit fucking politicians who don't believe in freedom of speech. So we got nowhere to turn. All the pillars of the community are completely full of shit, just like I've told you for fucking years now. What are we supposed to do, people? Here, let me play a video for you about big tech media. Okay, here's a governor of Florida saying big tech media looks more like Big Brother, and that's the fucking facts. And you need to hear it said. Big tech media looks more like Big Brother. Fuck YouTube. Fuck Google. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Twitter.
Developing now, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis is promising legislation that cracks down on social media censorship. Reporter Jay O'Brien with our sister station in West Palm Beach takes a closer look at what he wants to see happen.
They may come after someone that thinks like me. Tomorrow, they may come after someone that thinks like you.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis came out swinging at Silicon Valley this week.
Big tech has come to look more like Big Brother with each passing day.
DeSantis, a Trump-friendly Republican, proposing sweeping legislation to crack down on tech censorship, like $100,000 a day in fines for any social media app that pulls the plug on a political candidate's account, and requiring transparency for companies who control so much of what we see and hear, and more importantly, what we don't. All based on his belief that Silicon Valley is targeting conservatives, a claim that this NYU study says isn't true.
Business can be dismantled, a community of friends and colleagues canceled.
The governor repeatedly pointed to former President Trump's deactivated Twitter account, which had over 88 million followers, as well as the conservative social media app Parler, which he said was decapitated.
All these social media companies are private companies. They have a First Amendment right to choose to associate with whomever they want or to disassociate themselves from whoever they want.
Do you think this is all political?
It's entirely political.
Democratic Florida State Representative Omari Hardy calls this a distraction from a legislative session that needs to tackle coronavirus and its economic impacts.
And so those are the things that I think we should be focused on. But again, we're focused on these flashy, shiny objects like big tech censorship.
There are some interesting constitutional questions.
Constitutional law expert Kevin Wagner says there's a clear First Amendment debate here and calls this a departure for DeSantis, who typically opposes overregulation.
It's typically not a conservative answer to suggest that the government should come in and provide the answer.
DeSantis isn't backing down. He said he's ready to go round for round on this in the legislature. Outside of Florida, there are two other states that have similar big tech bills, North Dakota and Oklahoma. Both would allow people to sue social media companies, and Florida's law may do the same, but it's not written yet. Despite that, if it passes, it will almost certainly end up in court. I'm Jay O'Brien reporting.
Also ahead, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis shows Republicans how to fight back against big tech, and yes, how to fight back against big national left-wing media who choose to defend big tech, Silicon Valley, and social media.
Hunter Biden's story was true. Okay, we now know was true. And the typical corporate media outlets, they just chose to ignore it. Obviously, they wanted to beat Trump. They had a view on the election. They didn't want to give it any air. So we rely on social media to go around that, not let corporate legacy media outlets control the discourse and let us speak. So you had the New York Post to run it, and you couldn't get any traction. You couldn't get any reach on it because big tech put their thumb on the scale. So that was true. What they said at the time, oh, it's a conspiracy, or it's based on hacked information. Are you kidding me? You're trying to tell me if there was hacked information that could damage me, you guys wouldn't print it? Give me a break. You can whiz on my leg, but don't tell me it's raining. You guys would print it every single day if you could. And big tech would allow it to proliferate every single day, 24/7. So it's not being done on a principled basis.
There's my boober. He's my boober. Okay, so as I was saying, again, I think that these social media, look at censorship is the most un-American thing you can do. I think it would be much more American to seize these corporations that are censoring Americans because of political reasons. You know, they should be immediately seized by the government. You know, unfortunately, the government is full of fucking piece of shit people who think that they don't believe in freedom of speech either. They hate freedom of speech. You know, it's endless. And by the way, Playground of Sound, I have watched Tucker off of fucking Fox News. In fact, I covered Tucker. I covered Tucker when he worked for CNN. Remember when Tucker worked for CNN? I covered Tucker lots and lots and lots when he worked for MSNBC. Remember Tucker when he worked for MSNBC? Tucker's just another giant phony like all the other phonies. They're just talking to different suckers. Okay? Tucker is talking to this group of suckers over here who's like, oh, we're conservatives and we're whatever it is, whatever that group is. He's found his little niche and he's talking to them now. Okay, just like when he was on MSNBC, found his little niche and he was talking to them. Okay, he's a giant phony. Okay, otherwise he wouldn't work for a company like MSNBC, would he? All Tucker cares about is Tucker getting a paycheck. That's all that matters to Tucker, so we're clear. And all that matters to me right now is getting a fucking dab. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it right now. You watch. Everyone watch. No, don't watch. Follow me and do exactly as you see. Okay? Look, I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody. I want to bring everybody together. But I want to bring them together in order to recognize and defeat the common enemy that we have. I don't want us to come together because we understand each other and we have so much empathy for each other. We don't have that. Humans, they want to talk empathy. They don't have empathy. Otherwise someone would be doing something about the dying planet. No one's doing a fucking thing. Okay, humans, the reason we have to come together isn't because we have so much care for each other. It's because we have a common enemy. And that common enemy is in Washington, D.C., and they're so terrified of you right now, they're labeling as many people as possible domestic terrorists so that you're next. And in Washington, D.C., they're so terrified of you, is Washington, D.C. is on a military lockdown right now. Martial law. So much better. Okay, so again, they view these politicians, these people in Washington, D.C. view you as domestic terrorists. This is why they have to spy on your 12-year-old daughter's cell phone. This is why they have to spy on everyone in the country's cell phone. They have to spy on all your internet use. They have to spy on, because you might be speaking out against them. And we need to label you domestic terrorist so that we can shut down your speech legitimately. Okay, you are a threat. No, I am a motherfucking threat to this motherfucking piece of shit government. Okay, I am. And it's because I want all the politicians to go to jail. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they belong in prison. Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Barack Obama, again Joe Biden, Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, fucking W. Prison. Forever. In order to make the world a safer place for little children, in order to get criminals who believe it's okay to murder someone as long as they make a profit off of it. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fine. How are you doing?
I am mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
I hear that.
Yeah, I'm fucking mad. Do you remember last night I mentioned to you about what happened here in Olympia with the hotel being occupied?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember? It was pretty simple, right? Regular kind of action. 12 people went into a hotel. Police came with a SWAT team, arrested everybody. 3 people were charged with felony counts, including a couple drug counts, and somebody might have had a knife, but they're homeless people. You would have a knife too if you were sleeping in the woods, right? To protect yourself. And
I'd have a knife regardless if I'm sleeping in the woods. A knife is a common tool that many people carry.
And these people are not like professional activists either. They're homeless people, and they were making an action that was somewhat organized themselves. So they didn't understand all the P's and Q's, right? Leave your heroin at home, don't bring a knife to the hotel, that kind of thing. But they didn't really hurt anybody. They occupied the hotel, the police came, took them away, and so forth. They got some national press, like the article I read to you yesterday was from the San Francisco newspaper. Well, I'd like to read something from you to you today from the Olympian, our local newspaper, and this is why I'm mad as hell.
Okay.
The title of the article is this: the mayor calls the Olympia hotel occupation domestic terrorism.
Keep telling you guys, they want to label everything domestic terrorism.
All right. Well, this is from this afternoon. This was from the city council meeting, which was yesterday. And this is what it says. It says, Olympia Mayor Cheryl Selby had more pointed words. I am calling this crime an act of domestic terrorism, Selby said at the Tuesday city council meeting. This is like political action, political speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said the organizers exploited and victimized the very group that they want to help. It should be held accountable to the furthest extent of the law. Quote, this created an active crime scene that necessitated a police response appropriate to the scale of the actions of these terrorists, Selby said. She and other council members also expressed sympathy for the hotel staff and appreciation for the hotel management, noting that the county and local nonprofit Family Support Center had paid for rooms at the hotel to house homeless families during the pandemic. This is the second time Mayor Selby has used the term domestic terrorist. The first was last summer when a group vandalized her house with spray paint. She later apologized for those comments, calling them, quote, an overreaction after the quote appeared in national media accounts. Several members of the public responded to the mayor's characterization on Tuesday, calling it inappropriate. Quote, I don't appreciate how the mayor called them terrorists, said Nolan Hibbard-Kelly, who said he participated in the action by holding a sign outside the hotel. I don't think calling housing activists or people that spray paint on your house is really appropriate. And I know Nolan. Nolan is a friend of mine. I know these people who organize this. All right? I fucking know these people. That kid's like 22 years old, and his parents are awesome. His dad's a teacher. These aren't fucking terrorists.
I've told you
right,
people,
Mike?
I told you guys, look, that word needs to be reserved for the worst of the worst people. People who blow shit up, people who burn shit down, you know, people who really, you know, I mean, it's disgusting. Look, what they're doing. They're making it so that word has no real meaning, and everybody is a terrorist. As I tell you again and again.
If you start calling people who are teenagers and kids in their early 20s who are participating in the political process like they should be. Normally, when kids and young people participate in the political process, you pat them on the back and you say, you know, I'm so proud of you for participating in the political process and bringing a sign to a demonstration as a 20-year-old kid, holding it up and saying, man, this is wrong. These people need a place to live. I support the rights of homeless people, you know? And I oppose war. I oppose killing people. Those are things we should be supporting people for, right? Not calling them fucking domestic terrorists. This is like, it is Orwellian. It is Big Brother. It is fucking fascist, right? And I swear to God, the patriotism and the bullshit in this country has just gone off the goddamn rails. Off the fucking rails. And people need to recognize what's happening right now. You know, they're going to start, there are 3 people there who are facing felony charges, which means they're going to spend like 2-3 years in jail with a felony rap forever on their record for participating in political speech on the exact same fucking day that the state of Oregon decriminalized possession of all drugs. Like, this ain't no big deal, right?
Yeah.
You got a little drugs in your pocket and you're participating in political speech, you shouldn't fucking go to jail.
Right.
This is ridiculous.
It's horrible. It's horrific.
Absurd proportions.
It's beyond ridiculous.
Finally.
It's horrific. It's horrific that and then they call themselves public servants, and this the land of the free, you know?
And that lady, that person who is my mayor, was just reelected last year, right? With majority. Which means that more than half of the people who vote in my city are middle class, upper middle class people who care more about their front yards and about like how their grass is mowed than they care about the fucking people who are literally living with rats in boxes in the shadow of the state capitol building in squalor. They don't care about people. They care about their dogs more than they care about the fucking human beings on the street, Mike. It's a fact.
I care about my dog, you know. But,
yeah, more than human beings?
Yeah, I care about my dog more than fucking human beings. I care about my dog more than me.
So do these people. These people
No, those people
those
people are fucking yuppie wannabes who fucking moved to Tacoma.
They are yuppie.
No, they're yuppie. No, they're fucking yuppie wannabes who moved to Tacoma because they see a fucking deal. Oh, the property's cheap there. We can go and buy a bigger house there. So they moved there.
Work for the state. These are people who work for the fucking state of Washington.
Yeah, those aren't yuppies.
They're bureaucrats.
They're fucking pieces of shit who see a fucking a deal, and that's why they moved there, and they think they're gonna and then they're gonna live the high life because they're gonna get a fucking house and they're gonna sell it for $3.
It ain't no no different than the people who live on the north suburbs of Seattle, all right? It's the same crap.
It is different.
Same shit.
It's no, the people. I don't know if you're talking about Everett, but the people that everywhere here costs a lot of money to live, and the people in Tacoma are. That's the reason that there's a ton of people flocking there from Seattle. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
This is Olympia.
Okay, I don't know
Right?
Olympia. I don't know Olympia.
This is, yeah, I know I work in $1.5 million piece of property. I know that I work at another property worth $750,000, and it ain't no fucking fancy house, all right?
Mm-hmm.
These are people who are legislators and who work in the state capitol. They're the ones who are the authoritarians.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who vote in this city. They are middle class, upper middle class, and they hate the poor, Mike. They hate them.
They hate us all, dude. Okay?
Well, they do. They hate all of us, but they especially hate poor people. You know, people, they'll say things like, they don't work. They live in boxes. They're fucking lazy. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that kind of language before?
Yes. What's that person's excuse? I hear it a lot. You know, what kind of fucking excuse do you have?
It's a ridiculous argument, isn't it? It's a fucking ridiculous argument. It's like saying I'm a better human being than you.
I understand. I understand. Okay, and I don't say shit like that about people. Okay, I don't. I'm not here to judge. You know.
Well, now these folks who organize themselves are being called domestic terrorists.
Right, and I've been screaming about this for fucking years, haven't I?
I know you have, and I've been listening, and that's why I shared this story with your audience, so they can understand. They have a fucking example of this actually happened in a small, medium-sized city in the Pacific Northwest. The mayor of the town told activists they were domestic terrorists.
Yeah, they're the least amongst us, desperate for some help, and they're domestic terrorists. Those are the domestic terrorists.
And there's always this argument on the West Coast in California and in Washington and in Oregon. There's this argument that, people flock here to the West Coast, man, because, it's so nice and easy here, so they can be homeless here. That is not really true. Most of these people who are homeless in my city are from surrounding counties, rural counties mostly. They're from small towns around here. And they have no opportunity in their small towns, so they move to the next city. Like they'll move to here, to Olympia, or they'll move to Tacoma. They'll move to these cities because that's the only fucking opportunity they see. And when they get here, there is no opportunity. And then they're homeless.
There is. I have been around homeless people, okay, and I know that there is a percentage of them that move to where the weather's milder. I know homeless people that move from Seattle to Hawaii all the time. Okay.
It's not the vast majority of people here. It's mostly people like from Aberdeen, Hoquiam, from Centralia, Chehalis.
Mm-hmm.
They're people from like Yelm. They're people from small
I'm not
towns,
saying it's the majority. I'm saying that there are some,
that's what
though.
I just said.
There's a lot of people who go, look, the living's good on the West Coast. The weather's mild, Like I said, I know homeless people that move from here to Hawaii because the weather's nicer there.
Yeah, and I know middle-class people who post on, like, Nextdoor who are always asking about moving here because it's so nice. So people move here in general, whether they have money or not. But the vast majority of the homeless people who are living here are not, like, transplants from the other side of the country, Mike.
I'm not saying that.
I can give you some numbers, but, I mean, I'm just saying that, like, they're actually people from their own area.
I'm not saying that they're not. What I'm saying is that you're the
the
one who said. You said that's not true. There are no people. Blah blah blah. I said that's
I didn't
incorrect.
say no. I said the majority, the vast majority.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah. So we agree, Mike.
Uh-huh.
But I'm merely saying they hate poverty. By hating poverty, they believe that these liberals believe they're solving poverty. So when they see the fact that it's real and it hasn't disappeared and it's still there, they get hostile towards people who are actually poor. And they hate them.
Yep.
And this is really disgusting. And you may have seen this like in Capitol Hill when you live downtown. You might have seen it there. People, they project hostility towards the most vulnerable people in our society. as a way to make themselves feel better. And it is the most pernicious, disgusting behavior. It's unchristian. I'm not even a fucking Christian, all right? I don't proclaim to be a follower of Jesus Christ. But many people do. And this is extraordinarily hypocritical that they would act this way towards the most vulnerable human beings in their society. Period.
And I bring that up again and again and again. This is who's being punished is the least amongst us, as Jesus said.
That is correct.
Yeah, and it's not just that. They've just been so hardened. Everyone's been so hardened and made to be afraid. And I got to protect my own. I got to protect my own. Nobody else is looking out for me. And it just goes. I mean, it's just endless programming from the time you're little. And I'm not trying to give them shelter or any kind of cover. I'm just saying, we're not taught properly. We're not led properly. The leaders who we look to are calling, again, the least amongst us fucking domestic terrorists. They couldn't be fucking terrorists if they wanted to. They can barely get out of bed in the morning to go see their fucking drug dealer so they can get a fix. Okay? So.
Okay. Another thing, Mike, that pisses me off, because I've known this for like 20 years. This one fact I've known, and it's always been in the back of my mind. All right. When Hitler came to power in 1933, right, elected with the person died, he became chancellor, they held elections, he won elections, and then he became the chancellor, right? Within six months of Adolf Hitler in the National Socialist Party of Germany, the Nazi party, within 6 months of the fascists coming to power in Germany, they created work camps that were not voluntary. They literally went through the countryside and they picked up vagrants and people who had mental disabilities and people who were poor. This was before they picked up Jews and gypsies. This is before racial shit. Yeah. This was the very first thing he did, was targeted the most vulnerable people in society. All right? And the person who's my mayor is a fucking liberal.
Yeah. Well, right? They're not. They're not, though. That's what I keep saying. They claim that, but that's not really who they are. That's just, they see a niche that benefits them to act and claim that, right? The politicians are like chameleons, dude. Whatever they see.
Yeah, he was elected. Yeah, right. Okay, so I wanted to share that, Mike. I'm sorry I was so mad, but
it's understandable. It's understandable.
This makes me furious. Like, there are activists here in town, including, that kid did not get arrested. I know, I've known his parents for 20 years, right? He did not get arrested. But there were sympathizers outside of that hotel. And what the fuck is that? What kind of message is that sending to those kids? Like, that makes me want to cry. Those kids have the balls to go and support an action where the most vulnerable people are supporting themselves. And what kind of message are they getting from the newspaper, from the mayor? Yeah. And they're getting a message that if they participate in this, maybe they won't be able to go to college. Maybe they won't be able to get a job. Yeah. Maybe they won't be able to get a place to live. Like, maybe they're going to be afraid because they don't want to be called a bad word, which actually is a wild thing to think, right? Yeah. So I feel for my friend Nolan and his parents who have to deal with this crap.
And I've been screaming exactly about this forever. Mm-hmm.
And something about Nolan's dad. Mm-hmm. Nolan's dad came here, his parents came here from Holland right after World War II. Mm-hmm. All right? His parents actually were in fucking Nazi Germany when Holland was occupied, and his grandparents, but like his parents came here right after the war. So I mean, this just infuriates me to no end. I can't explain how fucking angry I am.
It's like you're saying, about these people. Again, this is how they're warning the other activists not to step out of line. But beyond that, the thing is, I get what you're saying about kind of shutting them down. But at the same time, the people with the balls enough to step up in the first place generally are very, very difficult to shut down. And when you push on them, they push back extremely hard.
They won't scare all of them away.
Yeah.
They might scare a few of them away. They won't scare all of them away. The ones who have convictions and values and morals will come back and they will oppose police brutality, and they will oppose war, and they will oppose racism, and they will oppose class injustice. They will oppose all of that shit because they have convictions and they have morals. Unlike the goddamn priests and fucking people who run the churches around here, who absolutely have no conviction. Unlike the businesses downtown, the small fucking businesses that don't give a shit about the poor. And there are many of them. Unlike those people, the kids with conviction and their parents who've always stood up for injustice will continue to, and that is a fact. Last story I want to share before I stop screaming, and this is also about tyranny. It's from Stop the Drug War, from their Chronicle today, February 3rd. And it's about law enforcement, and I'll read it quickly. It says this: an Alabama bill would let police secretly wiretap suspected drug felons. Lawmakers in Montgomery, Alabama are taking up House Bill 17, which would allow state and local police to place wiretaps on phone lines and monitor the online communications of drug suspects involving federal law enforcement. The bill is sponsored by Representative Rex Reynolds from Huntsville. The former Huntsville police chief said, quote, "This is for drug traffickers." He said, "These are people that bring illicit drugs into our counties, drugs that are killing our youth." But critics say the bill uses a low standard of proof, requiring only probable cause, and that could even be used against some marijuana possession offenses. So they're taking up a bill that would allow the police to place wiretaps on people who are suspected drug felons. So they haven't even been convicted in court. This is just like hearsay. Like somebody says, "Oh, I think my neighbor might be dealing crack."
Yeah.
Call
Yeah.
the police. And then the police, without any oversight, right, starts tapping their phone and observing every website that they ever visit and
Yeah.
monitoring their email. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. The thing is this discussion needs to be had so badly, because that's what's going on already. Is that they're, and it's going on illegally. They just want to make it legal. The discussion needs to be had desperately. It's just the people are so divided that I don't think they can have a reasonable discussion, and it's just going to land on the side of the police state because, we love our police so much. Don't we love our police so much? You remember that piece of shit saying that over and over again? Oh, we love our police. They wiretap our neighbors without a fucking warrant. We love our police. They put fucking cameras in little girls' showers. We love our police so much. Fuck the police. Fuck the police.
So, if we're going to be united, right? I mean, I don't know. You got to know who your enemy is, right? And I'll tell you one thing. My enemy is not people who are poorer than me, or people who don't have a job, or people who are living in a box and don't know what to do. And those are my fucking enemies. Brandon, dumbstar. That's my fucking enemy. Your fucking enemy is a rich person screwing your ass over. The sooner you understand that, the better off you will be.
There's
Mike.
only, okay, it's nice to hear from you, Chris.
Yeah, you too, Mike. You have a nice night. Peace.
Okay, there's only two sides, okay? Either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state, okay? And I've been saying this for over 15 years on YouTube. The lines have been drawn. Either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state, and it's simple. Do you believe in free speech? Do you want to protect free speech? Then you don't stand with the police. Do you believe in privacy? Then you don't stand with the police. You don't stand with the police state. Stop this thin blue line bullshit when clearly the police don't stand with you. Fucking idiot. Thin blue line. Fucking suck a thin blue fucking dick. Okay? You stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state. When you see the police state acting, you fucking get your cameras out and you film it. Why? Because you want to be a famous YouTube star? No, because the police state is criminal, and if you can help document their crimes, you want to do that. Okay? It's simple. Do you stand with freedom or do you stand with the police state? Come on, call, let me know. Where do you stand? Freedom, police state? I think I've made it pretty clear. You know, and all these members of Congress and all these news models, talking heads, they've made it pretty clear too. All the big tech, they've made it pretty clear, right? They do not stand on the side of freedom, which makes them a threat to you. It makes them a threat to all of us. Again and again, I've told you people, the only way the species evolves is through freedom of expression, through freedom of being who we can be, the most we can be. And they suppress it, and they suppress it, and they suppress it. They don't want us to be all we can be. They want us to be slaves that they can call domestic terrorists any fucking time they feel like it. And if you can't see that today, you must be blind, deaf, and dumb. And I don't mean you can't speak. So you know. Oh, let me give you an example here. Here is a clip about the FBI agents that got killed yesterday. And on this clip, you'll see a staunch conservative cunt who's been on Fox News a bazillion times. And you'll recognize him, I'm sure. And what you'll see is you'll see this cunt, what's his name, Bo Dietl or something like that. You'll see this piece of shit cunt fucking talk about how Donald Trump incited an insurrection on the Capitol on January 6th. Not fight for freedom of speech, not act like this person who cares about the Constitution more than anything, like he pretends to be, like all the other piece of shit politicians who are all exactly the same. Can't wait to call those people, those freedom people, those people who went to take back our government from criminals doing crimes in your name with your tax dollars. Calling them terrorists. Okay? That's who these people, they're all the same. There's no difference. They're just talking to different suckers. I don't know how much more clear I can make it than with this clip right here.
Developing tonight out of Florida, FBI officials identified the man who killed 2 federal agents as 55-year-old David Huber, a child pornography suspect. They say Huber shot and killed Daniel Alfin and Laura Schwarzenberger yesterday during a raid at his apartment near Fort Lauderdale. 3 other agents were injured and are recovering. Huber killed himself after a standoff. Investigators say he was not listed as a registered sex offender in the state. He owned a computer consulting business until last year. Earlier today, I talked with former NYPD Detective Bo Dietl about that tragic shooting in Florida and more. Bo, we've had a day to absorb what happened with the FBI agents getting shot in Florida. What are your observations a day later about what happened?
I called up one of my friends who's a former FBI agent, and I asked him some specifics as far as he knew, and he knew some stuff that happened. Now, we got to remember, they were dealing with a child pornography guy. Now, these kind of perpetrators that do this child pornography normally are not violent. You're not going after a person that's committed robberies or people that are known to have guns and all that. Now, when they went to arrest this guy, he didn't just shoot at him. He shot right through the door. So they didn't even know there was a weapon or anything there. And then these FBI agents were taken down, and 2 of them, including a woman who has a beautiful family, was killed. And it's a really dark day for the FBI. I have a lot of friends that are former agents and current agents of the FBI. This thing was a complete surprise. So you have to remember, there is no kind of call as going to be ordinary or just regular. You got to be aware. You don't know what you're going into. You have to suspect that the person's armed, and you have to realize that you have to protect yourself. That's easily said. You become very complacent these type of cases. And I think this teaches us you cannot be complacent until you know what you're dealing with.
We've seen big cities suffer a significant increase in violent crimes, Bo. They've skyrocketed. The murder rate, as you know, in New York up 41% from 2019 to 2020, 33% in LA, and 55% in Chicago. Why, in your opinion, is this happening, and what has to happen moving forward to address it?
Well, it's very simple. It's the political, liberal, democratic values that are being forced upon us. In New York State now, they passed a bail reform where I believe the last 1,000 gun arrests, nobody's in jail. The same creeps are out. The same perpetrators are out robbing people over and over. Until they cut the head of the snake off and revamp bail reform, this is going to continue. It's only going to get worse.
Bo, you know this is happening in cities all across the country, not just in blue cities.
Well, I mean, let's be honest with you. I was just over in Seattle and in Portland, LA, all these cities that are run by these Democrat liberal people, as far as from the governor onto this running the city. I was very outspoken about Chicago. I was a Fox News contributor 12 years. I talked about the murders in Chicago. Why doesn't anyone care about those black lives? That continued because the same liberal values that we're facing now if you handcuff the police are not doing their jobs because they don't want to lose their job or they don't want to go to jail. And this is our problem. Until we correct this, crime is going to increase across this country, and I'm very sorry to say it ain't going to stop until we have judges putting these criminals, these violent criminals, away.
What about the social problems that these cities are dealing with? Schools are being closed in their areas. There are no grocery stores. There are no jobs. There's no economic opportunity. Doesn't this run deeper than just that?
Absolutely. Like in New York, I mean, you could walk around New York, it's like Night of the Living Dead. You have people who are homeless, mentally ill. No one has dealt with it. No one cares about it. Everyone's talking about Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. All Black lives matter. The victims of these crimes, majority of the victims are in our minority communities. They don't want to defund the police. They want more police. All right, we went through this thing with Floyd. We all agree this was horrific and horrible. But now we have to realize one thing. To stop this criminal element on our streets now, we have to react. We have to react with laws that are going to keep violent felons in jail. Let judges make discriminatory evaluations and put them in jail if they have to. If they come up with 80 felonies, robberies, you don't just let them right back out because they're committing the crimes over and over again.
Bo, we just have about 15 seconds. Where do we stand with the investigation into the Capitol riots?
Well, I cried that day. I mean, I don't mean physically cry, but my heart broke because to me, the Capitol is a church. To me, the Capitol is everybody's. I hated to see what I saw that day. And you want to know something? I'm a very good friend of Trump for 40 years. I didn't like what happened that day. He was wrong for inciting these people. And he did incite them in the sense that they believed they could overturn this election. And those people went there. The good people went there, and they only wanted to demonstrate. There's a lot of agitators. I'd like to investigate some of those agitators that came prepared to cause violence at the Capitol and lock up every one of them. This is our church of this country. This is our most holy place, and we have to defend that, whether a Republican's the president or a Democrat's the president. The Capitol is our shrine, and how dare anybody break up our Capitol? And that makes me angry.
Bo, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right? Again, this guy is supposed to be one of these Constitution first guys, freedom. Donald Trump, I know Donald Trump so well for such a long time. And he says, and yes, Donald Trump incited those people. And they call those people domestic terrorists. So if Donald Trump pushed those people, incited those people, led those people to do this occupation of the House of Representatives, then they're calling Donald Trump a fucking terrorist, right? Aren't they? He led them to make this happen. Aren't they saying if those people were terrorists, then isn't Donald Trump a terrorist too? I got 4 new plants started today. Train wreck. And orange Girl Scout cookies. Oh, and peyote cookies. Making my mouth water. And what's the other one? What's the other one? Oh, can't think of what it is. I'll make a film. I'll put a video up this weekend. I actually started 6, but only 4 of them have popped up so far. The Trump seeds are gonna be huge. They're gonna be huge. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
This is Ray.
Ray?
Yeah, I was listening to your video just a few minutes ago about the FBI agents getting killed.
Yeah.
And they're saying the guy was a pedophile. I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt.
Well, right. I mean, that's how they kill people a lot of times. Is they vilify them the worst way they can. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been listening to lies my whole fucking life.
Right.
So I'm going to take whatever they say with a grain of salt. I know that he's dead. He may have killed himself, or they may have killed him.
Right.
You know, your caller before was talking about being in a small town. Well, not Olympia, but he was talking about the small towns around it. Now, I've lived in some major cities, but I prefer small towns.
Uh-huh.
But they're as corrupt, and I'm not going to say all of them are, but there's a shitload of corrupt little towns. And it's you know, in the big cities, you got police, you got to deal with the police.
Uh-huh. You gotta deal with the police. You gotta deal with the police everywhere, dude.
Yeah, but in the big cities, you're dealing with the police, and you don't realize it's the politicians directing them. In the small towns, you know it's the fucking politicians. It's the good old boy system.
Well, I see it as the rich people directing them, but yeah, go ahead. I mean, the rich people. The rich people control the politicians, and the politicians control the police.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I got a thing I really want to talk about. I don't know if I have the balls to do it.
It's Ray, right?
You know, yeah. Jesus Christ. You know, I'm thinking back years ago when COINTELPRO, I mean, you know, they infiltrated the Black Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't know who to trust.
We can't trust. Well, that's not true. I mean, you kind of know to trust your neighbors, you know, but it comes down to this thing, like I'm saying, you know, there's either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state, and you know you can't trust the police state. So that's basically where we're at right now.
Yeah, well, like I say, I don't, you know, my balls are kind of trying to suck up inside my body.
That's unfortunate. You might want to get turn up the heat a little bit. You'll survive.
Yeah. Well, you know, what I'd like to talk about is Liz.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, I love that subject.
Yeah. Do you have any personal experience?
Liz, Lize, as in Liz Cheney?
Yeah.
Yeah. Liz Cheney.
I damn sure ain't talking about Liz Taylor.
Liz Cheney is the single sitting member of Congress that has profiteered more off of the events of 9/11 than any other sitting member of Congress. That's the way I see Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is a horrible piece of shit whose entire family needs to go to prison for the rest of their lives in order to make the world a safer place for little children. That's who Liz Cheney is, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had a chance to encounter her. It's been years ago. Oh, Christ. I don't know if I can tell this story.
It's all good, man. Whatever you got to do.
All right. Yeah.
You can tell it later. You don't got to tell it now. It's okay.
Okay.
When you feel up to it, you let us know.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about her though, because she is a piece of shit.
She's a horrible piece of shit who belongs in prison for the rest of her life. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of her father either, but I never met him.
The entire family belongs in prison for the rest of their lives, simply in order to make the world a safer place for little children. That's all there is to it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would. I see where a lot of people are starting to think about the Constitution. And, I've talked about the Constitution before, but...
well, since September 11th, a lot more and more people have been thinking and talking about the Constitution. September 11th, 2001.
September 11th?
2001.
No, man, They weren't talking about shit then.
Yes, they were. I've
I've
been deeply involved since before September 11th, okay? And many more and more people have begun talking and caring about what the Constitution says since September 11th than at any other time in my life. So that's where we're at.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right on that. I think we have an excellent Constitution, but I don't think we're enforcing it worth a shit.
No, the people in Congress take a vow to the Constitution to protect it, and they do and every day they chip away at it. Every day they chip away at our freedoms. This is why they all need to go to prison, because they're all working together to make it happen. Because they perceive all of us as a threat to their personal lives. That's why they want to label us, domestic terrorists or potential enemy combatants in the NDAA, so that they have the right to spy on all of us.
Yeah. I can't believe that Edward Snowden is still in exile. I can't believe that who's the guy in England?
Julian Assange.
Julian Assange, yeah. I can't believe he's still in jail. I mean,
well, you know what?
It boggles my mind.
If you look at it in this way, that the media should be the ones screaming about that, about the free press and about information, freedom of information. The mainstream media, all the media should be the ones screaming about Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. And they don't say a fucking single word. And why? Because, again, the media is just another arm of the government. This their propaganda arm. And they're just misleading us and misinforming us and making our minds fucking sick. And it's really messed up.
I was always a newspaper reader, and I miss newspapers, real newspapers. And I'm talking about things like the Berkeley Barb. What the hell was the paper in New York? Christ. The Village Voice.
Yeah.
And I'm talking years ago, not the Village Voice became a piece of shit. But,
well, they all want their chunk of the mainstream, and the only way they can do that is to toe the mainstream line, and it's just fucking wrong, dude. I've worked for some really big media companies, and watching them go that direction, just it makes you very queasy.
Well, on 9/11, I was in D.C.
And
I didn't see any blasts. But I can remember pulling off. I don't even remember what highway it was. It wasn't the Beltway. I don't remember. But I could see the Pentagon, and it wasn't. You didn't see any flames, but you saw just big black balls of billowing smoke going up into the air. And I remember, I don't think they had smartphones then, but they had like flip tops, and I remember that all phones quit. You couldn't make a goddamn call anywhere. And I'm thinking that we depend on our smartphones right now, or computers, and if we don't get some kind of little rag newspaper like the Berkeley Barb or the Village Voice out, like on a weekly basis, because hell, you're on the internet, you could get shut down.
Oh, I've been shut down again and again.
Hell, I know you have.
Yeah. It sounds like a good hobby for you, Ray. I mean, I know, but this shit starts small, man, and then you can inspire other people by showing them, something that they don't even believe in anymore. Nobody actually believes in printed page anymore, dude.
Yeah, I got some ideas on it. I'd like to make it work.
Yeah. No, but it's all I'm saying is you could inspire people by showing them how to do it, because I think it's kind of a lost, like nobody's even thinking about it anymore, really. So, like I said, the printed page just has lost all its meaning.
Well, yeah, it's something to think about. All right, well, look, you know what I really want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about it tonight.
Okay.
But it's coming.
You call back anytime, man.
All right, it's coming.
All right, bro.
Fuck Liz.
Fuck Liz Cheney. Fuck their entire family. Straight to prison forever.
All right, man. I'm going to just shut it down and listen to the rest of your show.
Okay, well, call back soon.
All right, Mike.
Okay, stay cool, Ray. We'll get through it, bro.
All right.
All right, that's Ray. I'm not sure where he's calling from, but he sounds like he's been all over. And that's my Boo Bear. Hey, Boo Bear, did you see what's over here? Look over here. Hey, look at this. Look over here, Boo Bear. I'm gonna have to get something squeaky or something. Wait. Oh, look, Boo Bear. It's the Godzilla, Boo Bear. Roar! The Godzilla. All right, so let's see. The number's right there on the screen. This is a call-in show. It's all about us having a discussion. I'm really a very gentle conversationalist. In case you guys don't know, you saw the way I was handling Ray. I didn't push him to make happen anything he didn't want to make happen. Just sometimes I need people. See, when I start talking over people a lot of time, it's because I don't want people thinking, that, oh yeah, a plane did hit the Pentagon. And if you're talking about a drone hitting the Pentagon, well, that's not what I'm talking about, is it? I'm talking about a giant passenger plane. Ray was just talking about it. Okay, so he brought it up into mind. A giant passenger plane did not hit the Pentagon on 9/11, and that's what this Congresswoman Marjorie Greene is saying. And this is what's got the Congress all upset. Is she said there's no evidence that a plane hit the Pentagon on September 11th. Okay, and if it did. If a plane did hit the Pentagon, there'd be lots and lots and lots of evidence of it, meaning, all kinds of cameras from all different kinds of city angles of plane going overhead and heading the direction of the Pentagon, and we've never seen anything like that. And the reason that we've never seen anything like that is because a plane didn't hit the Pentagon on September 11th. And not only that, this brainwashing, this like, if you speak out, we're going to shut you down. This is what they're doing with this Congresswoman. She's like the sacrificial lamb that they're saying, that they're making clear to all of you that you're no longer allowed to question September 11th, the events of September. You're not allowed to. That's unacceptable speech in the United States. We may label you a terrorist if you continue that. You're not allowed to question anything, at least not deviate from the mainstream line, you know. Again, she said something about the Las Vegas shooting. I'm not exactly sure what she said, but she talked about the Las Vegas shooting. I have eyewitness accounts from the Las Vegas shooting, minutes after it happened, saying that there was a helicopter circling, firing from the helicopter. I have that on this YouTube page. Type in Las Vegas shooting. Okay? So, and again, that's not anything that was reported, except for when Fox News is paying attention. But we can't discuss that, can we? Oh, that's some kind of hoax, conspiracy bullshit. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying I have eyewitness account saying that's what happened. Minutes after the event. Okay? That's what I do. I deal with what is. Okay? And what the Pentagon has shown us is that they don't want us to know. And what really bothers me about this, you know, this plane that never hit the Pentagon on September 11th is that it should have been filled with people. And that those people should have had people that were talking about them and asking questions about them. And I don't know if that was maybe some of the Jersey Wives. I don't know if you guys remember the Jersey Wives. But, you know, if that was my mom or my sister or my wife on that plane, my dog, I would be talking, I would be asking questions, I would be screaming at the top of my lungs. Where are these people? Because a plane didn't hit the fucking Pentagon, and we all fucking know it. Okay? And I'm not talking about a drone, you know, because if a drone was a plane, you'd call it a plane. A drone is not a plane. It's a fucking drone. Okay? We're talking about a passenger jet liner filled with people that never ever hit the Pentagon. Where did all those people go? And why doesn't anybody care? Right? Any logical person knows a giant jetliner did not hit the Pentagon. And where did all those people go? And why doesn't anybody care? Scary shit, man. Okay. Oh, look, I have news about vaccine giveaways. Vaccine giveaways here in Seattle area. Here you go. You guys like marijuana?
Or variants.
A Benton County pot shop is offering a unique discount on marijuana to its customers if they've received a COVID-19 vaccine. Green to Go owner Steve Lee calls it the first cannabis incentive program in Washington. Beginning today, anyone who brings in their proof of vaccination will receive a one-time discount of $10 off any purchase of $20 or more. Lee says people can receive the discount again when they get that second dose of vaccine.
We're trying to celebrate the people that choose to get vaccinated, but also we are trying to incentivize vaccinated people to shop at our stores to provide for the health and safety of our staff.
The shop also plans to launch a similar incentive program for employees.
That guy just got the cheapest fucking advertising ever. And I want to know if anybody in that news station is invested in that shop, because I guarantee they're not the first ones to offer a COVID discount. And that's a bullshit fucking discount. Oh, we'll give you $10 off a purchase of $20 or more. Giant advertising. Oh, look, oh, discounted marijuana. You guys like marijuana, right? You know, look, if he said that he was giving people a 50% discount on their purchase because you get $10 off, you're not going to spend $20 when you go to the pot shop, when you drive out of your way to get to this one pot shop where everybody's like, oh, look, I got my vaccine, right? You get $10 off. They're going to buy like $100, $150 worth of stuff, and you get $10 off. You know, make it a 50% discount because they fucking got a shot, dude. They got a shot of some serum. and then they're going to get a second shot of it. Actually, stop the advertising bullshit and actually give away something. Hello, caller.
All right, Craig, you gonna put me through to that motherfucker? Put me through to him.
Yeah. What?
Oh, Craig?
What?
Craig? I just took a hit, man, so I'm feeling goofy.
Right on. How's it going?
It's going good.
Excellent.
Your first video was pretty poignant. The guy in Florida, DeSantis, is that his name? DeSantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's right on the money. It's not a conservative or a liberal issue. It's like we got to do something because there's a big problem in America. Too many stories and narratives and dialogues are being shut down.
Yeah.
And that's the root of the fucking problem. Is if you can't,
I think the social media companies that censor the Biden story should be immediately seized by the government. We should seize all control of them. Unfortunately, the Biden government is the one who fucking benefited from it, so why would they do that? But at the same time, you can't. Them using their platform to manipulate our free and fair elections is unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good point. I was thinking
that means that they're a threat to our democracy, which it's not a democracy. We have a republic. I fucking hate that democracy fucking bullshit.
Weaponized media, like I've been saying, and I was thinking more along the lines of an analogy between, let's say you're talking about something with your neighbor, and your neighbor just shuts you down, and the psychology of people just shutting you down. I don't want to hear that. I've experienced it. You've experienced it. Everybody's experienced it on a personal level in their own life with their family, with their neighbor, with somebody else. But it's even more important when it gets to public matters like elections and laws and 9/11 and legitimate stories that should not be shut down. It's even more of an issue of free speech. And the designers of the Constitution, somehow, they must have had a fucking, a gypsy soothsayer in their midst. They saw 2 centuries into the future, and they just knew that public discourse influences all public matters, and that dialogue and arguments and discourse and back and forth is what influences laws, lawmakers, populations, armies, and newspapers, and the ability to have free speech in the street from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high.
Yeah, I think they were visionaries very much so. But I think partially what it was is that they were being oppressed by that same kind of oppression.
Exactly,
so they were like, this is just not, we can't live this way. We don't, why would we want to have a government or a country like that? Let's set up something, that's because, and it's like I keep saying is that they may have understood that without the freedom to freedom of expression, freedom to do what it is you want to do, what you can perceive, this species will never evolve. Again, and all you have to do is look at the slaves that were being held back then. There's no way they could evolve to be the most they could be. That's what's happening to us all now, is we're being held down by this government, this culture, this media, this rich elite fucking whatever it is, conglomerate is saying, we like the people just how they are. We don't want them to evolve to be any more than they are.
Yeah, well, you can go all the way back to the Roman Empire. 2,000 years ago, a Roman politician named Tacitus succinctly said, the more numerous the laws, the more corrupt the state. And how the fuck he knew that 2,000 years ago? It's like, is he looking forward to America? It's like we have so many laws now, you can't walk out your front door without breaking a law. If your grass grows too long, you're breaking a law. If you paint your house the wrong color, you're breaking a law. So that's where we're at. We're in an extreme.
Yeah, from what I understand, the typical American breaks about 17 laws a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they use that. The police use it to puff themselves up like they're the big king rooster in the chicken yards. Like, you better do what I say, little girl. Stop crying, little girl.
Yeah.
Or stop resisting. I felt threatened, or whatever. It's everybody's pretending, and it starts in your family. But actually, in terms of what we're talking about, it starts with the politicians. When you got fake ass politicians, that's the real trickle-down theory, It's like that corruption trickles down. We got no one up there that's fighting for us, so I'm going to be corrupt too. And this is why I respect people that have honor, is because, if you refuse to be corrupt, unless you're under extreme threat, like, if I was under extreme threat, I would be corrupt. If they're playing dirty with me, you bet your ass I'm going to sneak around behind them and fuck them in the ass, and they'll never get up. You'll never leave your enemy standing. But fortunately, I haven't had to do much of that because I'm an honorable man, and that's what I respect, is honor. But this guy DeSantis in Florida, he's right on the money. The chick, the blonde-haired senator that are trying to censor, did they happen to completely censor her? Did they
No, they'll do that tomorrow. They're going to vote on it tomorrow.
Okay, well, according to Amy Goodman, the talking points that the shit they're throwing on her is Sandy Hook and the other school shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about the Pentagon on Democracy Now! They don't talk about Las Vegas on
They hate those things being talked about. What I think they're going to focus on is her calling for members of Congress deaths. I think that's what they're going to focus on.
I think what she did was she clicked the like on Facebook where somebody said shoot Nancy Pelosi in the head. I think that was her entire death threat right there. It wasn't much.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Truth. Shakespeare said truth will out. So this is why free speech shouldn't be shut down, because all of the idiots are going to out themselves.
Yeah, and they are clearly. I mean, again, we have to recognize the common enemy. The enemy is anyone who threatens our freedom. And it's pretty obvious who those people are at this moment.
I saw a story today. Alexandria Crazy Cortex. She wasn't even in the Capitol building. She was in the building next door, and she's blowing everything up like, my life was threatened. I had to hide in the bathroom. She was hiding in the bathroom in the building next door, not even in the Capitol building. So,
who was that? Who was that saying that?
AOC said that.
Oh yeah, the fucking bitch is crazy.
I call her Alex Crazy Cortex.
It's just this thing where, the more victimized I am, the more people that are going to rush to defend me. Go up on the couch, girl. Go up on the couch, honey.
Yeah. The victim gets all the pity. And, if only Trump and Putin hadn't run up the Capitol steps with their shirts off and those burning spears and broke the fucking doors down, we would have our America back again. But fucking Trump incited a goddamn riot.
Yeah, it's all Trump's fault. Has nothing to do with all the criminal actions being done in the people's house, in the people's name. Nothing to do with that.
And then, I don't know what you got lined up, but do you know what H.R. 117 is?
I don't know.
Okay. It was introduced into Congress, House Resolution 117. I think I got the number right. Exactly 1 month ago on January 3rd, right before Trump tried to overthrow America. And it's a brand new guns bill. They're coming after your motherfucking guns. And this is going to be a serious fight. And you'll be here. If you haven't heard, H.R. 127, there goes, we'll go. I was 10 numbers off. So, Yeah, that's a pretty serious issue. I think they're going to vote on it tomorrow or in 3 days, something like that. But that's going to be a more substantial fight than the usual go-around, which it all gets knocked down. They're talking about psychological evaluations. They're talking about testimony from family members.
Yeah.
Social media profiles.
Okay, look at, again, these people are crazy if they're going to get anywhere near people's guns, okay? And this is the reason nothing's been done forever, is because, when Obama had the White House and the House of Representatives and the Senate, they did absolutely nothing on guns. The reason is because we have guns, okay? Because and Obama used to always say, we're not coming for your guns. And it was right. But the reason that they're not coming for our guns? Because we have guns. If they thought that they could come and take our guns, they would have done it long ago. But so that they know they can't do it. So this is all theater to try and appease people. Don't get the impression that they're going to somehow make that happen, dude. I mean, it's really good where they have this discussion, because we get to see these people who are anti-freedom, anti-Second Amendment, anti-Constitution. After taking a sacred oath to protect that, they try and chip away at it. This is important for us to see.
They get some extra added attractions with this particular House resolution, like a federal registry, which gets shared with every federal agency, every single police department, even Podunk, Mississippi can check on your record. Anybody anywhere can check on your record. They might even include school boards and all that. That is a complete infringement on privacy. That can't fly. I don't think. I hope you're right that none of it flies, because that's an infringement on a lot of people's fucking privacy. I think we have adequate gun control measures right now, and if it stays the way it is, that's cool with me. Because the crazy black Texas senator woman is saying crazy shit like you can put a 50 caliber shell into an AR-15, and that's why. yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So I mean, and I don't know where she comes from. It's like Planet Lupus or something.
How
like
did
that.
she get elected in Texas? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I think she's a Democrat, too. I'm sorry to go to the left-right thing, but she's a black Democrat senator talking about putting a 50 caliber in an AR-15, and that's why we got to get rid of guns and have a federal registry, and your school principal can look up your parents' gun record and all that shit, and it's all, fuck, man. So,
my dad had 300 guns in the house when I was in high school, and an awful lot of them were loaded 24/7.
Well, they still haven't popped all the motherfuckers that did Ruby Ridge and Waco. They burned children alive in Waco and killed a mom.
I understand that. Again, this is why we have to send these people to prison, so that the people that come behind them don't think they can get away with that kind of shit, in order to protect little children. American children, Waco, American children burnt to death by this government.
Well, without free and open discourse, which means free speech, without being able to talk about any subject on the internet and on TV and in the newspapers, we'll never be able to crack this motherfucking dinosaur egg open and kill the goddamn Tyrannosaurus Rex in there. And that's what we want. We want to kill that fucking dinosaur and go into the new paradigm, and we can't do it without free speech. And so that seems to be the number one issue. They got fences and razor wire all around the Capitol, and nobody's coming for those guys. They're all like huddled in there, 21-6, hike! It's like the Capitol football gang. You guys, we're going to pass this, and we're going to censor that, and we're going to impeach Trump, and they're all terrorists. And without free speech, we won't even be able to pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz. So that's pretty much the number one issue. you know, I'm looking with a legal mind at the, you know, Facebook is privately owned, and Google is privately owned, and Twitter is privately owned, and what are we going to do?
Should seize all of those fucking companies immediately because they're illegitimately fucking with our elections intentionally. You know, fuck that. They should not have that power. It needs to be stopped immediately in no uncertain terms. Okay, freedom, again, freedom of speech is essential when you have the biggest soapbox in the world. So if you can't handle that, then go do business in fucking China. You ain't doing it here.
Yeah, in China, it's really, really bad, dude.
It's really bad here.
Yeah, it's beyond.
They shut down Alex Jones. Fuck you.
It's beyond what anybody I know could have envisioned. We talked about it and we saw it coming for years. But then when the things that happened in 2020, I think blew everybody's mind. We never thought that they would be so fucking blatant to do the things they've done. But you know what eminent domain is when the government comes in and takes people's property for certain legitimate reasons, right? Mm-hmm. That's about the only method the government could have.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
To seize the media company.
I don't think so. When they're doing this kind of tainted election bullshit. I mean, they're swaying our elections by hiding freedom, by quelching the freedom of the press, by quelching freedom of speech. This is unacceptable. You cannot have that power against free and fair elections in the United States. It's over now. Seize these motherfucking pieces of shit companies and stop this shit from ever happening again. But of course, the people who benefited from it are in power now, so they're never going to do that.
Yeah. That was my point. That was what I was going to say. Good luck getting that done with the people who got elected by using those
platforms
companies to get elected. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't know. So, you know,
that includes the New York Times and the Washington Post and all of these companies, all these giant media companies who censor CNN, anybody who censored this story from being part of the dialogue about Joe Biden becoming president of the United States needs to be just fucking seized by the U.S. government. Okay? They no longer have the right to do that, to do business in this country. It's bullshit.
Well, you've heard that old saying, truth sounds like hate to those who hate truth. And that's where we're at. It's like we're now, if we speak the truth, we're terrorists now. And that's a little upside down, you know. So I'm going to watch the show, man. I mean, the political show, and see what happens. I don't, other than talk about it and exercise my own personal free speech, I don't know what the fuck. How the hell am I going to, I guess that's the way we do it. Is we insist on free speech. That's the only way I can see it, because other than this guy DeSantis in Florida, I don't see anybody else talking about it.
Our freedom and our freedom of speech and such is, again, it's the only way the species evolves properly. If you don't understand what those words mean, maybe it shouldn't evolve ever again. But this is really simple. Our freedom to be able to be all we can be and go any direction and make anything happen that our big brain, top of the food chain can imagine. You know, if that's suppressed in any way, the species can't evolve. We're just slaves being held down now. That's all it is.
Every man that you can think of had a mentor. And the way they learned from their mentors was by talking to them. And if you shut down all the smart and beautiful people that have facts and opinions and knowledge and training and education, how you're gonna devolve humanity. You're not gonna evolve humanity. You're gonna devolve it. We're just gonna go happily into the slave class and keep our heads down, and we're not going to be men anymore. Are we not men? We are men, man. So me being just this little guy in California, only way I can just exercise my free speech, not let any dumb fuck shut me down, and that's how I fight back. And also, you know, not waste too much time arguing with dumb fucks. That helps too. But other than that, man, I'm glad this guy DeSantis spoke up. That's our primary issue for 2021. Besides eliminating the police state, and hope, you know.
You know what I like the best? You know what I like the best about what he said? Something about to the effect of $100,000 fine per day for censorship, and I hope that's per each fucking person that they censor. You know, because that'll get their attention, and hopefully it's retroactive.
And they might challenge that in court. It might go to the Supreme Court. You don't have the right to do that. I think, well, that would be an interesting case. I'd love to watch that. But, you know, the election was stolen. So many crimes have been committed on the people by the government throughout all these centuries that now's the time. And the more free you are in your personal life, the more that'll rub off. If you meet any really smart, eloquent people, you know, learn from them, talk to them, listen to them. And all of the pundits that, you know, there is such a thing as identity politics. Stay away from identity politics. I don't identify with anybody. I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a...
Look, it boils down to if you can just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? Okay? It boils down to this. Either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state. And when it comes to politicians, it should be unbelievably obvious where they stand. Okay? So, you know, anything else kind of convolutes the message, you know? You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to be real concise because it can convolute the message and people just can't pay attention to it. It doesn't get into their head properly. And I'm not saying you in particular.
They never put up fences around Parliament. They never put up fences around the French government. They never had to put up fences around the German government. Myanmar, or Burma right now, is basically in the same boat as the United States, is where the government is sequestered. The government is military run. Of course, you can't really say that about the U.S., you know. These politicians, they support the military, and the military and the corporations and the politicians and big tech, the communications, are all in bed together. And we're a little bit more convoluted, but my God, look, any World War II vet who's alive and looking at the fences around D.C. and what's going on, they got to be freaking out. This has never happened before. They had to put up fences, barbed wire fences around the Capitol. Fuck that shit. It's not even necessary.
And all of you people should be freaking out. Again, Washington, D.C. is under martial law right now for the sole purpose of protecting the politicians. That's it. There's not some kind of national emergency other than, oh, we have to protect our fucking politicians. And why would they have to protect the politicians? If the politicians were doing the people's work, if the people were happy with the politicians, why would they have to be protecting them like that? That's not what the military is for.
All dissenting voices also.
Yeah. That's not what the military is for. It's not for protecting politicians. It's for protecting our freedom, protecting our borders, protecting our country. Washington, D.C., the politicians surrounding the Capitol and the White House, no. That's what police job. That's the job of police.
You know, Alex Jones, every once in a while he comes up with something brilliant, and he did
Go up on the couch.
ago.
Go ahead.
He called it Mordor on the Potomac. Mordor on the Potomac. It's like, you know, you see the ISR on over the Capitol building, and it's like, it's that's where we're at, man. It's like and you got a bunch of orcs in Washington, D.C. protecting the Capitol. Man-meat. So, and you can't say anything. They're shutting down every dissenting voice. And the way to be free in an unfree world is just to get grab your balls and walk like a man, not a monkey. You're a man, you know. So
look. Again. What you need to do is recognize that there's two sides here. There's the side of freedom and there's the side of the police state. You don't have to have balls to figure that out. You just have to fucking look at it and care. Okay? Because you either stand with freedom or you stand with the police state, and if you haven't decided, you stand with the police state. So you know.
So, before I go, I did see a story today about gray whales washing up on the West Coast dead a lot. I don't know if you heard about that. These are gray whales, not orcas.
I played a news clip of that last night.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. I saw it this morning on somewhere else. I don't know. But yeah, man. So let's take care of our planet.
And again, we're the protectors of those creatures, and we're doing a really shitty job of it. And when the top of the food chain is dying off, that should be a major concern to us because that's where we're at. We're top of the food chain. We should be very concerned about that.
Okay, Mike. I'll let you go before I irritate the fuck out of you.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, okay. But, yeah, take care, dude. And,
okay. Talk to you soon.
You have a good show.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, that's our buddy Mike from Southern California. You guys ready for a clip, or what do you want to do now? Should I play a clip about Liz Cheney? Oh, how about the clip from Canadian news about Canada adding the Proud Boys to the domestic terrorist list, huh? How about that? Canada news. We don't play that every day, do we? Here you go.
First, we want to get straight to a developing story. We're now learning that this man, a local self-proclaimed member of the Proud Boys, was arrested here in King County in connection to last month's riot at the U.S. Capitol. According to court documents, he is 30-year-old Ethan Nordine, also known as Rufio Panman. Nordine was seen marching at the front of a group of known Proud Boys shortly before the riot began on January 6th.
Those court documents also say Nordine entered the U.S. Capitol. He now faces federal charges of obstructing an official proceeding and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. His father, Mike Nordine, who owns Wally's Restaurants, posted a statement in response to the arrest, writing, "We have tried for a long while to get our son off the path, which led to his arrest today. Ethan will be held accountable for his actions." Today, Canada became the first country to designate the Proud Boys as a terrorist entity. Canadian officials say they've been monitoring the group for years, and their pivotal role in the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol shows they are escalating toward violence. Their designation as a terrorist entity means they could have their assets seized and face stricter terrorism-related criminal charges in Canada.
Canada's list of terrorist organizations has swelled to 73. The federal government added 13 new groups today, including the Proud Boys. Some of its members played key roles in the storming of the U.S. Capitol last month. Public Safety Minister Bill Blair said the list can be a powerful tool to fight extremism.
Listings can help support criminal investigations and facilitate the laying of terrorism-related charges against perpetrators and supporters of terrorism. They also help block the flow of financial resources to terrorist groups when such groups use Canada's financial systems. And that's because when an entity is placed on the list, banks and financial institutions can freeze their assets. It's also a criminal offense with severe penalties for Canadians to knowingly deal with the assets of a listed entity. Listings can help thwart the efforts from sympathizers in Canada by criminalizing certain support activities, including those related to terrorist travel, training, and recruitment. And they can also support the denial or revocation of a Canadian organization's charitable status if it maintains connections to a listed entity. And it can, of course, make it easier to remove hateful online postings in the context of that extremism.
Let's bring in the CBC's Evan Dyer. He's in Chelsea, Quebec. So, Evan, let's talk about the Proud Boys specifically, because, I mean, that is really what's, making news today, that we are the first country in the world to put them on a terrorist entity list like that. What's the significance of it?
Yeah, of the 13 groups, really, it is the one that stands out mostly. Actually, these are groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State and those kinds of groups make up the majority of groups on Canada's terrorism listing. There are a couple of other neo-Nazi groups, I should say neo-Nazi groups named, who I think are pretty non-controversial. They're both explicitly violent groups that have advocated the use of violence for years publicly. So no surprises there. The Proud Boys, however, stand out as a group that, first of all, deny being a white supremacist group, but also perhaps more significantly because I think that few people would today dispute they've been involved in violence. They have been involved at least in street fighting in the United States and in the attack on the U.S. Capitol building. There is still some question about whether this decision has been tainted by politics. And I say tainted because it is supposed to be, strictly speaking, a criminal process, a legal process. And indeed, Public Safety Minister Bill Blair was at pains to stress that that's what it has been, that there has been no political interference. But a lot of people were struck by the timing of this decision. And when I say the timing, I don't mean the fact that it followed closely after the January 6th Capitol Hill attack, which does appear to provide some legal justification for this decision, but rather the fact that it follows closely after a motion in the House of Commons in Canada brought by the NDP, but voted for by all parties, to call for this organization to be listed. And of course, that is a form of political interference in what is supposed to be a strictly criminal decision that is not supposed to have any weight. So it has led some people to question whether there's a sort of a flavor of the month nature to this designation, whether the fact that Proud Boys is in the news and is an unpopular organization that espouses obnoxious views has led to this listing. But we had a technical briefing with public safety officials this morning where they emphasized that this is the result of months of investigation. They say that the politicians weighing in had no impact on this decision. They say it's built on intelligence that led them to feel that the Canadian members of Proud Boys were drifting into more violent rhetoric, activity, and organizing, and that this group meets those criteria that are required to be listed as a terrorist organization in Canada on its own merits. And they actually de-emphasized its role in the January 6th attack, which is pretty much the clearest example of organized political violence by this group, and said that that was only a part of it, that brought additional evidence to light, but it only helped to build a case that they already felt was being made.
And what does this mean for Canadian members of the Proud Boys?
Well, it's not illegal to be a Proud Boy per se. And, to the extent that there are members in Canada, they do not have to now go into hiding, but they do have to be very careful about what they do. The terrorism law prohibits activities of an organizational nature, including financing, recruitment, travel. It also, of course, prohibits engaging in violent activity or conspiring to engage in violent activity with others. So while a person is allowed to be a Proud Boy, to wear a Proud Boy shirt, to go into the street and demonstrate and chant slogans in support of the Proud Boys, you cannot send money to the Proud Boys. And that would include membership fees. You cannot buy a Proud Boys t-shirt if the money for that t-shirt goes to the Proud Boys organization or to a bank account that can be linked back to the Proud Boys organization. Assets belonging to the Proud Boys, in fact, could now be subject to seizure and could be tracked through FinTrack Canada's sort of money laundering detection organization. And then the federal government could go after those assets. And that includes civil forfeiture of property held by individual Proud Boys, including dwelling houses. So a person could potentially fall into trouble with the law by hosting a meeting at home that could not only potentially set them up for the loss of their home, but also, depending on what was discussed at that meeting, more serious charges. So there are a lot of pitfalls that suddenly open up around a Proud Boy that it would be very easy for that Proud Boy to put their foot in if they were to continue in this kind of activity. But they're not immediately criminal just by virtue of belonging to that organization.
All right, Evan, thank you. The CBC's Evan Dyer, live in Chelsea, Quebec.
Okay, so, and again, if you buy a Proud Boys t-shirt, you might just be a terrorist. Okay, don't forget it, Canadians. They're coming for all of you, too. It's not just us Americans that are terrorists now. It's all you fucktards. You got no freedom of speech. Don't even begin to think about wearing what you want to wear, saying what you want to say, or painting on your little helmet whatever letters you want to paint on your helmet. FTP. Okay, so I have a couple other videos that are really important that I want you to see. Apparently, the White House, for its press briefings and for any kind of interviews with Joe Biden, are demanding that all questions be submitted ahead of time, which again is a load of bullshit, and it's never been that way in the White House briefings. But Trump had to shut down the White House briefings because he couldn't control the discussion there. So now Biden's going to control the discussion by making them submit their questions ahead of time. Fuck that guy. Fuck. Oh, and I have another one. I have another video about Biden and the Biden family business, where they make money off of Joe Biden being a professional politician, being in the White House, because nobody's discussing that, and I thought you guys would want to see that. Oh, and speaking of not buying a Proud Boys t-shirt and not having the right to, to freedom of speech, you certainly don't want to pick up your white privilege card. Especially since you have to buy it from a black man. The white privilege card, by the way, is being sold by an African American gentleman, and and in case, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day of the Seattle protests when there was the CHOP and stuff, and there was all these white privilege people that were saying that when you come across a black person, you should just give them $10. Well, the white privilege card costs $10. So there you go. You get your white privilege card, you give a black man $10. How's that sound for a deal? God bless America.
Trump won the election. Among the suspects' possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free, with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply following the advice and the commentary of the president.
Evidence. Again, this is not something you want to carry around with you, because it's evidence that you believe you can get away with anything. And again, the card is being sold by a black man. It's easy to look up. He's right there on the front page of his website, holding the card proudly with a big old smile on his face. It's a beautiful thing. God bless America again. But don't even begin to think that you have freedom in this country. This is evident. If you have a sense of humor, this is evidence that we can and will hold against you. Okay? You better not enjoy laughing. You better not even resemble being remotely happy, because slaves are really not allowed to do that. And if you look happy, we might think that you think you're not a slave. And if you think you're not a slave, well, you have really tuned out, baby. So, again, White House demanding that all questions be submitted before they are answered. Submitted and approved, I would imagine.
Questions about reporter questions at the White House. Reporters covering the new Biden administration, according to the online Daily Beast news site, are raising concerns about the White House asking for questions before the start of daily news briefings. One reporter telling the site the press can't really do its job in the briefing room if the White House is picking and choosing questions they want. That's not really a free press at all. So is it screening or just preparing? Let's ask legendary newsman Sam Donaldson, who covered the White House and Washington for nearly 5 decades. Sam, in your years in Washington, did you ever have to offer questions in advance?
No, Joe, good to be with you, but I didn't. And I don't think other reporters did either. The people who serve the president, a president, know what the subject's going to be. Is it going to be Vietnam? Is it going to be the economy? Is it going to be Iraq? Is it going to be a scandal that's I mean, they understand that, and they actually prep a president before a news conference for them. But to ask us, as a reporter, to say, what are you going to ask, is kind of silly. I mean, we're free now. I say we. I'd love to be back there in a sense, but of course, I think the people who are there are doing a great job. It would be silly to say, well, you have to tell us in advance what we need to prepare for. They have to prepare for everything, and if they get a question they don't have an answer to, they say, hey, I can't answer that now.
All right, I want to get to that in a minute, Sam, but there's a big difference between submitting written questions and getting an idea of what reporters want to talk about. It used to be a daily gaggle, right, in the morning where you'd meet with the press secretary, but that's not happening now with the pandemic.
Well, if this White House, which is a breath of fresh air as far as I think most reporters would say, is asking for written questions, that's way off base. No reporter is going to do that. I mean, that would be it would be destructive of both sides, really. Our information comes to us because we have questions that the public needs to have the answers to. And then they have to answer that or not, just as they choose. But to write it out in advance would be something it's unheard of. I don't know anyone that did it during the time I was there.
Right. So you touched on how difficult the job of press secretary can be. You have to sort of know everything. Some have questioned if Jen Psaki comes fully prepared for these, saying we hear a lot of this.
Well, yeah.
I'll have to circle back with you on it. It's a good question, but we'll circle back with you on this today. I'm happy to circle back with you on it. We will circle back with you if there's more to update. I will have to circle back on that one. That's an excellent question. We will venture to circle back with all of you on that after the briefing.
So to be fair, I heard Jen Psaki circle back, in fact, today on a question someone had asked earlier, and she did answer questions from everyone in the room. We are certainly coming off a frosty 4 years in that room, Sam. What do you think of the daily press briefings now compared to your days at the White House?
Well, I've been watching some of this new press secretary's work, and I got to tell you, yes, there could be things that could be improved on, but compared to what we had for 4 years, this is a breath of fresh air. I mean, I don't have the right words to describe it. I think she's doing a good job. Now, the circle back thing, I agree. What she's saying is, look, I don't have the answer now. I'll see if I can find one. The circle back is an invention, I guess. It's a form of speech. And I think she does overdo it because it sounds as if she's a little evasive, which, of course, I don't think she is.
So it's become tradition, as you know, Sam, to interview the president before the Super Bowl. This will be Mr. Biden's first formal TV interview since the inauguration. What should we look for with this interview? Does it matter where it is, the Oval Office versus the Blue Room? How deep and how serious do you think this gets before a football game where people are eating chicken wings and drinking beer?
Well, I don't know. It's got to be Joe Biden. I mean, he is himself, and whatever he feels comfortable in will be the right place. I don't think he's going to try to project himself as the emperor, like our last president did. And I think he'll try to level with the American people to the extent that he's able to, which is not to suggest that he's going to be evasive. But I find it difficult, and I'm showing, I guess, my own mindset. At this point in the so-called honeymoon phase, and he's not getting much from Congress, that's true, we'll see, to find great things to criticize him for. Now, I think in the years to come, reporters will find a lot, and he'll have to have his feet held to the fire at news conferences, just like any president. But at the moment, the difference between Donald J. Trump and Joseph Biden is sunlight versus darkness to me.
Sam, a lot has changed since you were in the game. What do you miss the most?
Well, you miss the play back and forth. In the press room, for instance, it was never personal. I was down there, but Pierre Salinger was there for, I wasn't the White House correspondent, of course, but I'd go down occasionally for John Kennedy's Pierre Salinger. And what you do is you ask the questions, and it gets a little testy, perhaps, because the good press secretaries never lie. That's the kiss of death, to lie. But they evade, and they dodge, and they weave, and they change the subject, and they try to dismiss you as, oh, people don't want to know that, or something like that. But the testiness is never personal. It hasn't been for me in the past. I see in the course of the last 4 years the abuse from the stand by press secretaries for Donald Trump to reporters. They ask a question, a perfectly reasonable question, and they're abused, told in 2 or 3 instances, you should be fired. What are you doing here? I once had to write a deposition and was happy to do it to show how it was in the old days, because they were trying to lift Jim Acosta's pass of CNN. Mm-hmm. And the judge said, a judge nominated to the bench by Donald Trump, you can't do that. If you don't want any press corps, you don't have to have one. There's no constitutional right to have the press there. But if you have a press corps, you don't get to pick the person who's going to represent CNN or America or whatever. I mean, this last White House in so many ways was foreign to me. I'd never seen it. Wasn't the Nixon White House. He lied. He lied about one thing. His press secretary lied about that one thing, the cover-up of the burglary. Other than that, it was sort of business as usual, trying to transmit information to the public.
Sam, thanks for the history lesson. When we say legendary newsman, we mean it. It's great to see you, and thanks for your time.
Let me tell you, the word legendary is one word away from the word calcified.
All right, Sam, thanks again.
All right, so first let me say, if you media types are going to try and work from home, get some fucking lights. What's wrong with you? I mean, you've been doing this forever. You know how to do this. And second, Sam Donaldson was a news anchor for ABC News on September 11th. And on September 11th, the day of September 11th, Sam Donaldson described the Twin Towers coming down as oddly reminiscent of a skyscraper demolition or an implosion, something to those effects. And lo and behold, look where we are now. And then, of course, he was moved to the side by the powers that be and told, oh, we have to get this voice under control because we can't be having discussions like that right now. We all need to have the same voice. We need to have a hive mind mentality when it comes to where we stand and where the future of this country is headed. Don't you know? And that was 20 years ago. And it's the same fucking thing right now. If you don't have the hive mentality, if you're not with us, you're against us. That's how all the politicians see you. Again, I keep telling you, there's no difference. Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, exactly the same. If you don't have their hive mentality, you are a threat to them, and you need to be somehow, I would imagine, in the future, somehow chemically castrated because there's some kind of problem with your testosterone that you would demand freedom and freedom of speech and fight for a legitimate government that's not doing crimes daily in your name with your tax dollars, you know. We got to chemically castrate that person right away. All right, so this is a call-in show. I'd just like to remind you guys from time to time when we don't have any phone callers, the number's right there on the screen. In case you can't see it, it's allow me to read it for you. It's 805-669-6397. That's 805 Mox News. 805. Sorry, what did I say? 805 Mox News. 805-669-6397. And remember, this is about us sidestepping the censors and actually claiming our freedom of speech from these keyboard cowboys who say, oh no, that comment's not okay. Okay, that comment's not okay. We sidestep them by allowing your voice to be heard uncensored on the internet. How much more can I possibly do? How much more can I possibly do? Please, just tell me and I'll do it. Hello, caller.
What's up, Max? How you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
Good. Just wanted to call and say, what's up, man? And show's been good lately, and it's just been nice to watch it every night and have something to do besides watching regular news.
Right on. Well, thanks very much. You know, we're it's very nice of you to say, and you know, try and do something that's not just a waste of your time. You know, I'm not out here talking gibberish or look what I did today. Look what I did today. I'm so special. I don't really give a fuck. You know, I just trying to you know, do what's right, what I know how to do.
Right. I mean, don't give in to the fear, don't give in to the hate stuff that you say actually is true. Kind of the one thing I took from your show is to don't give in to that stuff that the media tries to push on everybody, and it's definitely true. Another thing that you were kind of right about is how you were saying the left and the right, the same thing. Like, I didn't really realize or see what you were talking about for a while until recently, but I kind of see what you were saying now.
Yeah, they're headed towards the same goal. They're really, you know, it's all anything where they look like they're against each other is theater, and they already know the outcome of the theater. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like they're pretending to be against each other so they can, you know, again, talk to these suckers and talk to these suckers. You know, look like they're looking out for these suckers, looking out for these. They're not looking. Nobody's looking out for you. Nobody's looking out for us. Nobody's looking out for the working class. And that's what I mean by them being the same.
Oh, they try to put us against each other too. I know you already know that, but
yeah,
it hasn't been that long ago that I got into politics, and I immediately figured out that it's extremely divisive. It's just pushes people away from each other is what it does more than anything.
Which you know is solely because of the party system. If we didn't have a party system, if it was just this American running for this office and this American running for that office, and which American will you vote for, it wouldn't be so divisive.
Right. I don't know how reasonable that is to look forward to into the future, but I definitely see where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
It would be difficult to get away from the situation we have now. But I think I'm finally starting to realize that it might actually be a good idea to get away from the two-party system. And it's going to be weird and strange, but I think it's time. And I think Donald Trump might be leading the way with that, with him wanting to start another party. You know, even if people disagree with him, he's going in that direction, you know.
Yeah, he needs to start a religion, not a party. He would be much better off. If he starts a party, he's going to divide the party that he now controls. I don't think, honestly, he's going to start a party. I think that unless they somehow kick him out and say, oh, well, you can't do that, you can't run, then he'll start a party and he'll go, well, you're not in control of what happens, so I'm gonna run anyways, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a lifelong Democrat myself, and I never watched Donald Trump on that reality TV show. So I kind of relate to Trump in a lot of ways. I mean, like I said, I've always been on the left, but I feel like I've stayed pretty much the same, and they've went off the cliff.
Well, it's when you look at Trump, and then you look at the whole entire professional politician class. You know, when he stood on the stage with 18 other Republicans as a potential in the primary, primary debates,
owned all of them.
They all just look like professional politicians, and then there was him, and he didn't look like that at all. And people went, well, this guy is definitely different. We're tired of these fucking professional politicians. They're not good for anybody.
I like Trump. A lot of people don't like him, but people like him for different reasons. And people who judge Trump supporters just because they're a Trump supporter really shouldn't be doing that because they don't know, they don't know the whole story.
Well, again, like I mean, this Trump, these labels, this Trump supporter, this, I mean, the anarchist,
Right.
Black Lives
Right.
Matter. It's just this way that they divide us. It's, I mean, it's they're not,
Right.
they're just, we're all just Americans. If we're participating in this, together in this country, then we're all Americans, and we all have the same and equal rights, and we should be able to move. And if we just cared about those rights pretty much above and beyond, our own or whatever, then we'd be able to recognize the common enemy that on a daily basis chips away at those rights, and we might be able to actually make something happen to getting that to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, another thing, kind of unrelated, I usually don't call in until you piss me off so bad. I call in and I just want to fucking scream at you. But usually what happens is we'll bullshit for a couple minutes, and then I'll feel like more like we're friends. And then I'm less likely to blow up on you and more likely to just have a conversation. So I
Wow.
think people need to look for the good in other people. Don't look for a reason you don't like people. Look for something that's good in them. Because like I said, I'll call in all pissed, but then we'll talk for a minute and we'll be cool. And then I'll settle down. And we'll kind of respect your opinion more. So I think more people need to do that. It's just be more friendly and try to look for the good in other people.
Yeah, just not again. Look, we have to recognize the common enemy, and the easiest way to do this is just to see this way that I'm seeing this. Either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state, and I don't think ever in my lifetime it's been more clear. And it should be an easy choice to make because you police state cocksuckers can't get around without a fucking cop dick in your fucking mouth. So just claim it and go over and stand on the side of the police state. Otherwise, fucking step up and care about your freedom, your neighbor's freedom, and all Americans' freedom. And if you're viewing it in any other way, then you're just convoluting the situation to something that's unrealistic and hoping for a better tomorrow. And that just ain't going to get us nowhere anymore. The only thing that's going to get us is more of the same.
Right. I see what you're saying for sure. I mean, things are crazy right now. People couldn't be more divided.
Yeah.
The people try to separate people based on color and all kinds of things.
Anything they can.
I mean,
Anything they can.
It's ridiculous. They try to put gays against non-gays,
Yeah.
trans against everything,
Yeah.
POC against everything. But I mean, I'm 35, and I grew up basically being taught and not having any prejudice about people. If they're a respectable person, then you respect them. It's not about whether they're fat. Or
Yeah.
they're gay,
You
or
take
they're
everybody
black.
as an individual. I mean, I even say that about cops, right? I say cops as individuals, you take them like any other person. But when they're together, they're like a pack of rabid dogs, man.
Yeah, they definitely need more accountability. But really, I think that everybody needs to just try to do better on their own. Try to be a better person and more loving towards other people. And like you say, not give in to the fear, not give in to the hate, because that's exactly what they want.
Yeah. Just it's just really clear to me if you see it in these terms of standing with freedom, because it seems like I don't know how much freedom matters to people anymore. It's because they're afraid of the vaccine, they're afraid of the terrorists, they're afraid of fucking everything. I want to give up all my freedom as long as they don't feel afraid anymore.
Well, the thing is, you're older than me. They don't make them like you guys anymore. The people your age live a different life. You guys have more appreciation for the things the younger generation takes for granted. So I feel like they're being taught to not like America. They're being taught that United States is the only people who ever had slavery. They're just being taught all these terrible things about our country. And I think there's bad things to come, man. I really think there is. I mean, you got people like AOC in the office nowadays who I don't know anybody who would take her seriously. It's just amazing the shit that's been happening lately, man. It's hard to even believe it.
Yeah, well, I kind of anybody. It seems like to me that takes any of the politicians seriously. I mean, it's hard to believe. You know, how can you take these people
Right.
seriously when they've done everything they can to sell us down a river, and now you're going to believe
I mean-
them? Give me a break, you know?
Right. I first got into politics. I was following Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I went to a couple of his rallies. I went to see him speak a couple of times, and that's what got me into everything.
Yeah.
At
Well,
that
Bernie
time,
Sanders would talk about the police state. He would talk about Israel. He would talk about, you know,
Right.
the
Well,
drug war. You know, things
me
that
tell you
these
something
other
about Bernie
politicians
Sanders'
wouldn't get
rallies.
near with the 10-foot pole. So, yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
tell you something about Bernie Sanders rallies. I went to a couple of them. I've seen him speak a couple of times, and no disrespect, but just what I saw with my own eyes was basically a lot of young people who just wanted to join the movement, and it's just kind of fun for them, and they just kind of wanted to be together. I mean, I gave away my
Well,
umbrella to somebody, and they kept it.
maybe young people saw a better tomorrow in Bernie Sanders, and that's what they really were hoping for. You know, when
Those
he
younger
talks
people
about
don't really know.
universal health care,
Like-
and he talks about the drug war, and he talks about, you know, all this stuff. You know, I mean, he was a different voice, and that's why, again, he was the controlled opposition who was just meant to bow out the minute, you know, they could make it assured that Hillary Clinton was a nominee or whatever. You know, he was just people put way too much faith in him, but it was because he was saying important things.
Right. I mean, I don't disagree with everything that he said. I lost basically all faith in him when he backed Hillary Clinton. That's when I
Right.
backed out from supporting
Right.
Bernie.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
But, I mean, just to kind of wrap it up, I mean, I know you don't like Trump. A lot of people hate Trump.
Do you know?
but
Do you
I
know
don't feel
why?
like
Do you
he's as
know?
bad as
Do you
people
know?
make him out to be?
Do you know why I don't like Trump?
Why is that?
Because Donald Trump could have done anything he wanted with his life. He could have made everywhere he go a better place. He could have done wonderful things for people who needed it desperately. And instead, Donald Trump chose to spend his life as a fucking douchebag. Okay? Most of us don't get a chance to make that kind of choice. And he chose douchebag, okay?
I mean, he could have also just done drugs his whole life and been a loser because he.
How do you know? How do you know he didn't do drugs? How do you know he didn't do drugs?
He says that he's never done them.
Yeah, okay. I believe
Hey,
it.
listen.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people don't trust Trump and they don't like him, but I mean, I feel like he's done decent things.
I
feel
look
like he's put America first.
I'll tell you what Donald
I feel like
Trump I'll tell you what Donald Trump did that was really, really important, okay? And what Donald Trump did that was really, really important was he got the remains of soldiers back from North Korea that people had been asking president after president after president to do. And that was really important, okay? Other than that, you know, it's pretty much theater, just like all the other politicians.
I gotcha. Well, hey, Mox, thanks for taking my call. I just want to say hey, and you guys have a good one. We talk to you later.
Right on. It was good to hear from you, and call back anytime.
Will do.
All right, so I have another video about the Biden family business, right? I told you I had a video about the Biden family business. I know you want to see this. I'm going to play it for you now.
Tonight, as President Biden tries to draw a clear line between his family and the Oval Office, his brother, Frank, has used his presidential ties in an ad for his law firm. Sunlen Sarfati is out front.
As President Biden talks tough,
without a hint of scandal.
promising that family conflicts of interest will not be tolerated in his White House.
No one in our family, extended family, is going to be involved in any government undertaking or in foreign policy.
New questions are rising about the president's brother, Frank Biden's job at this law firm in Boca Raton, Florida.
I'm Frank Biden.
Muddying the waters on the president's vow.
I'm available for consultation with attorney Teddy Berman.
Frank Biden, hired by the Berman Law Group in 2018, is listed as part of the executive leadership team as senior advisor, non-attorney. The law firm regularly touts their ties to the president, featuring Frank and his family connections prominently on their website, in promotional materials, and on social media, promising clients, quote, the expertise of a high-profile government relations consulting team led by Frank Biden, brother of former Vice President Joe Biden. In 2020, the firm filed these two class action lawsuits against China involving the COVID outbreak. In both press releases announcing the lawsuits, Biden's brotherhood with the president was featured up high, even as the firm confirmed in a statement to CNN that Biden was not even involved in the cases. And on Inauguration Day, as Frank appeared at the Capitol as his brother was being sworn in, the firm placed this two-page ad in a local Florida newspaper, emphasizing the shared values between the two Biden brothers, specifically mentioning the firm's lawsuit against sugarcane growers, quote, filed against the backdrop of incoming President Joseph Biden Jr.'s commitment to environmental and social justice. In a statement to CNN, the Berman Group says, we have not spoken with federal government officials about any of our cases. There have been no discussions between the firm, including Frank Biden, with President Biden, the campaign, transition, or administration about the law firm or any cases, including China-related matters, nor will there be. The White House, in a statement to CNN, says that the president has pledged an absolute wall with any family member's private business interests. Any implication to the contrary is flatly untrue and unsupported by facts.
The foul line is 15 feet away from the basket. Never get me closer than 17 feet, because it really is a matter of the public trust.
President Biden trying to make a hard break with how things were done under Trump.
I want to thank my daughter Ivanka, who's with us today.
Where the lines between family and government were blurred completely.
I mean, completely blurred there, but someone in the Biden White House is trying to make it clear that they're not going to do that. They're going to operate differently than the Trump White House. So what are they doing specifically to draw the line between family and the Oval Office?
Yeah, Aaron, the White House already has an internal policy in place right now that involves the White House counsel's office as well as representation from the families here, and they will go over questions or any concerns over conflicts of interest as they arise. Then additionally, their policy right now, it prohibits family members from working or serving on the board of any majority foreign-owned companies. But to this specific incident involving the Vice President Biden's brother, they have not said if they have specifically talked to Frank Biden about this or his law firm. But Aaron, they are emphasizing in a statement to CNN tonight that the president's name should not be used in connection to any commercial activities or to suggest his endorsement or support. Aaron?
All right, Sunlen, thank you very much. And thanks very much to all of you.
And again, that is the Joe Biden family business. That's how they seem to make all their money is by Joe Biden being in the White House, right? Or a senator or whatever. I thought you guys might want to see the beautiful little baby that I have. This is my Trump Seeds orange cookies. My Trump Seeds orange Girl Scout cookies. It's making my mouth water already. Isn't she so pretty? What a pretty little baby. What a pretty little baby. Oh, such a pretty little baby.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
All right, so speaking of pretty babies, there's my pretty girl. She's my pretty girl. What a pretty girl you are. You're such a pretty girl. Laying down by the river. You look good. You should come and lay down by the river more. Such a pretty girl. Isn't she a pretty girl? All right, so I thought you guys would want to see all this stuff that I'm sharing with you. Wasn't that an interesting story about Biden and his brother? And it's just so obvious that this is how these people make money, right? Is by a family member being a professional politician, a 40-year career politician in U.S. politics. And it's pretty disgusting, right? I hate nepotism. I don't know why I hate it so much. It just seems really wrong, Not always, but, when it's like so blatant, when you're supposed to be a public servant and just all your family members are making money off of having connections to you, it's really not pretty, in my opinion. Okay, so if anybody wants to call, the number's right there on the screen, 805-669-6397, 805 Mox News, 805-669-6397. I don't know why I'm doing that today. That's weird. Let's see, did we get everything? You guys saw the white privilege card. Oh, the WHO visits the Wuhan lab. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I thought it might be interesting, or maybe even a little bit important, but interesting at the very least.
Scientists from the World Health Organization have visited a virology institute in the Chinese city of Wuhan, which some American officials have said may have been the source of the coronavirus. Subsequent checks indicated that none of the gene sequences of COVID-19 matched the viruses held by the institute. Nonetheless, it's the focus of considerable attention. Steve McDonnell is in Wuhan with the latest.
If you're studying bat viruses here, and if you're studying the potential for viruses to leap from bats into human beings, which the team here have done, of course the WHO scientists would want to speak to them. I mean, there's one study from the Wuhan Institute of Virology which seems to have shown that amongst some villagers who live near a cave with these bats, there is some immunity to bat viruses in that population of human beings, and that would suggest that the viruses somehow jumped into their population. So it's these types of things they wanted to speak to them about.
I mean, obviously a highly sensitive trip, we know that. Do you think, is it your sort of understanding perhaps from WHO officials even, that they will lay out everything that they've learned when they leave, or that there could be some sort of conclusive indication as to what they've found while they're still in China?
That we are not sure of. We've asked them, will there be a report that comes out while you're still here, or might it require meetings back in Geneva before it's all pulled together? Might there be a press conference at the end? We don't know the answer to any of these things. I mean, for example, the team left here a short while ago, and again, reporters were firing questions at them. How did it go inside? Now, one of these scientists said, kind of cryptically, a very interesting visit, many questions. Now, does that mean we asked many questions, or many questions remain in our mind as a result of this visit? I'm not sure. So we're all, what does that mean? And then the cars race off into the distance.
Yeah.
And without having like a comprehensive press briefing from them, it's hard to get to the bottom of just what they're finding on these visits.
Mark Lebel then, of course, getting it spread out across the world is another challenge. Well, Pakistan has started its nationwide vaccination campaign. It received a donation of 500,000 doses from the Chinese state-owned company Sinopharm. Nearly 12,000 people have died from COVID-19 this far in Pakistan. That's a lot fewer than many had thought, but the country's rather weak healthcare system has been stretched by the pandemic. Here's Secunda Kamani.
I'm outside the National Command and Operations Centre. This is the hub of Pakistan's fight against the coronavirus. Data from across the country is sent here about deaths, about infections, and now about vaccinations. An official ceremony marking the start of the campaign has been taking place here this morning. So far, the vaccines are only being offered to healthcare workers. The plan is for them then to be made available to the elderly population. At the moment, Pakistan just has 500,000 doses following a donation by its close ally China, produced by the state-owned company Sinopharm. Sinopharm says this vaccine is 79% effective. There has been some concern elsewhere about the transparency around the data behind that, but Sinopharm's vaccine is already in use in the United Arab Emirates and a number of other countries. Pakistan is also expecting to receive 17 million doses produced by AstraZeneca in the first half of this year as part of the international COVAX scheme distributing the vaccine amongst poorer countries. With a population of more than 200 million people, though, Pakistan is going to need many more jabs.
I'm actually foreseeing a different problem, that we will have vaccine available for everybody. It is convincing everyone that it is important for them to get vaccinated.
And how big a challenge is that going to be, given the history of anti-vaxxer sentiment?
We're going to find out as we roll it out, but it's not just in Pakistan, it's everywhere in the world.
So far, though, Pakistan has not been as badly affected by this pandemic as many feared it would be, perhaps because of its younger population. The average age here is just 22. Nevertheless, the arrival of the vaccine has been welcomed by doctors who've been working under a lot of pressure, particularly in bigger cities. Dozens of medics had died after contracting the virus. There had been concerns about the slow pace of procurement. Now, finally, some positive news.
My girl left, but Bernie stuck around. I knew she wouldn't stay for long. She's not into making TV the way the Boo Bear is. Okay, so still no callers. What's the deal? We have the line numbers right up there. It's not like it goes away during the video clip. You can call anytime. Craig is waiting. Let's see. So I have one video left. I only have one video left, and that's about Liz Cheney. And I'm not quite ready to play the video about Liz Cheney, so I'm not sure what to do now since we don't have any phone callers, and we don't have, and I'm down to one video left. We can play a video of shooting sharks. Look how that's 50 caliber bullets right there. Those are 50 cal bullets, and they're being shot just like feet from those people. And I'll tell you something else. Those bullets bounce off that water. That water's a lot harder than it looks, and those bullets hit that water, it'll bounce. So that is some really freaky shit, in my opinion. In case you guys don't know, gotta shoot the sharks. Shoot the sharks. Shoot the sharks. Because that helps. You know, if the sharks are... My dad used to tell me, if they're shooting at you... I got a lot of lessons about being shot at from my dad. He would say, if you're being shot at and you're in water, what you want to do is you want to go down about 5-6 feet. And if you can stay 5-6 feet under the water, the bullets might hit you, but they won't break the skin. So, and it might hurt like a motherfucker, you know, but they won't break the skin. So if you're being shot at, you want to go under the water. At least that's what Dad taught me. No one's calling. Okay, so let's see. We have another video. I have lots of videos. Do you want to see more videos? Let's see. I have another video about Liz Cheney shooting sharks. We got the shooting sharks one. Ooh, fucking tiger. We have a fucking tiger video. Have you seen the fucking tiger video? I don't know. Let me see. I don't see a fucking tiger. You see a fucking tiger? Fucking tiger! I don't see a fucking tiger. What are you talking about, fucking tiger? There's no fucking tiger. Where's the fucking tiger? Ah, fucking tiger! Got the fucking tiger video done. I'm gonna play this other video. I already played it earlier, but I'm gonna play it one more time because I think it's funny.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free. with 2 T's. Scott Free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, you know, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply following the advice and the commentary.
All right, so, and the thing about that clip, right, Don Lemon goes, and this is real. Right? This is how telling this is about the CNN news, right? Is Don Lemon has to let you know, oh, well, this news clip is real. This one's real. No, what I'm talking about now is real. And you know that when he says this is real, if they have to qualify shit as real, you can pretty much count on the fact that it ain't fucking real. It's a parody. The white privilege card is a parody that's being sold by an African American man on the internet. Okay, so if you want to give an African American man $10, as the suggested donation is, if you see an African American person, you should give him $10. It's easy to do by buying your white privilege card, but do not carry your white privilege card around with you, because they will consider that evidence when you get arrested. As Don Lemon said, this is evidence. Ugh. And he thought of the mentality that he thought he could get away with something scot-free. Oh, by the way, Scott is spelled with 1 T. Scot-free is spelled with 1 T. Well, he's spelling it like a name, dumbass. Scott. And Scott, as the name, is spelled with 2 T's. So, you know, dumbass. Don Lemon. He thinks he's educating us and showing us how smart he is. Oh, Scott spelled with 1 T. Scott Free is spelled with 1 T. Fucking dickhole. That's who that guy is. And this is real. That's who CNN is. They have to clarify for you that when they're telling you something, it's real. And anytime, and you know what? There's a PSA going around about getting the COVID-19 vaccination, right? There's a PSA going around, and it starts off, we learned many things this year, and then it says blah blah blah, and then it says blah blah blah, and then it says COVID-19 is real. And again, if they have to, if the people, you know, leading you, instructing you, programming you, misinforming you, or have to tell you, no, this is real. That's like them saying, no, Santa Claus is real. And don't you even get me started on Santa Claus is real, because I'll tell you something, Santa Claus is real, and if they can believe in the things they want to believe in, then I can believe in Santa Claus, all right? So don't let them give you that shit about Santa Claus not being real. And, oh, no, this is real. Fuck you. And that fuck you goes to Sean Hannity and Dick Hole, whoever, Lemon, you know, those guys. Let's see, so I think I'll play another video. Why not? That's why I prepare them for you. And this one is about the love. And I can't believe the lovely Liz Cheney. And I can't believe how many so-called liberals and libertarians and such are coming to the defense of so-called, again, the so-called is the important part of those descriptions, are coming to the defense of Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney being the single sitting member of Congress who has profiteered the most off 9/11 than any other single sitting member of Congress. And if you think it's okay to profiteer off the events of 9/11, there's something seriously wrong with you. And if that's the kind of people you want representing you, there's something seriously wrong with you.
I'm Marnie Hughes. A rare resolution with political Potential political implications taking center stage tonight on Capitol Hill. House Democrats formalize a vote to potentially remove Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committees, as one of the top GOP leaders says he will not take actions against her. The Congresswoman, who was sworn in a month ago today, is set to serve on the Budget and Education and also Labor committees until the end of her term in 2023. She has faced criticism over her support of multiple conspiracy theories and calls for violence against some Democratic lawmakers before she was elected.
It sets the stage for a vote on the House floor tomorrow, as some Republicans criticize Democrats, meantime, for not putting their own members under the very same microscope. News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil live in the nation's capital tonight with more on this story. Joe.
Yeah, Rob, Marjorie Taylor Greene was becoming a household name for all of the wrong reasons. As you mentioned, these wild conspiracy theories with no base in reality, and then some of the likes and shares of posts of, frankly, violence against other members. So there were calls for Republicans to do something about it, but we saw Democrats take the first action. Republicans still sort of trying to figure out what to do about her. House Republicans are meeting tonight to sort out what to do about Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
How this is going to go depends on how Congresswoman Taylor handles this.
Republican leaders are now under pressure to remove Taylor Greene from her post on the Education Committee because of her affiliation with the QAnon conspiracy and past comments and posts claiming some school shootings were staged, questioning who was behind 9/11, and liking or sharing posts about shooting and hanging Democratic leaders. Some Republicans, including Congressman Don Bacon, say their party should hold her accountable in some way.
These statements were made before she was elected, so we have to understand that. But I think she also has to acknowledge they were just wrong.
I'll just say what I've heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene's comments have been out of the mainstream.
Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn says House Republican leaders should decide consequences. Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy released a statement saying of Taylor Greene's past rhetoric, "I condemn those comments unequivocally. I've condemned them in the past. I continue to condemn them today." He went on. As a member of Congress, we have a responsibility to hold ourselves to a higher standard than how she presented herself as a private citizen. Marjorie recognized this. Leader McCarthy stopped short of removing Greene from her committee assignments. He criticized Democrats for not condemning 3 of their own members, referencing Eric Swalwell, Maxine Waters, and Ilhan Omar for comments she made, which were condemned by both parties.
If you're equating this stuff, I mean, come on.
Meantime, Democrats will vote on a resolution to remove Taylor Greene from her committee assignments themselves, a rare move for the opposite party. Congressman Jim McGovern, who chairs the Rules Committee, says she's an exceptional case.
I don't ever recall another member coming to Congress who's actually agreed with posts advocating that a bullet be put in the head of the Speaker of the House.
Now, in that meeting that we were referencing among Republicans, we're not exactly sure what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, but we know that she did make comments, and there's reporting that she got an ovation, that there were people who were clapping for her after her comments. Again, whatever she said today, we're not exactly sure. Another important thing that happened at that meeting, Leader McCarthy came forward and defended Liz Cheney. There have been calls to remove her from leadership because she voted to impeach President Trump, but he defended her. Others also defended her, so we're not sure if she'll stay in leadership. That's going to be decided among the party, but she at least has the support among her fellow leaders, at least for now.
And Joe, now the stage is set for that dramatic vote on the House floor tomorrow. Have we ever seen anything quite like this in the past?
So this is a little bit different. What we have seen in the past is certain members of Congress lose their committee spots because their own party removes them from it. We saw that with Steve King, a congressman from Iowa, not so long ago, for comments that he made that many found to be, frankly, racist. And so Republicans did that on their own. But for the opposite party to vote to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's something that you don't really see or hear about. It's certainly within the rules, and Democrats have the majority. It's within their right to do that, and they say that they're acting because of Republican inaction, but it's certainly something tomorrow that we're going to see that isn't a typical maneuver.
Joe Khalil in D.C. for us tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
The social media platform Parler has terminated CEO John Mates. In a post on LinkedIn, he thanked his coworkers, adding that it's not goodbye, just so long for now. Amazon Web Services cut the app after the Capitol riot, saying the company needed to do more to regulate harmful speech on the platform. The company, which describes its goal as creating a neutral platform for free speech, is trying to have services restored. The Biden administration has re-implemented an Obama-era immigration policy known as catch and release. That means people seeking asylum in the U.S. can stay in the country during their immigration proceedings. It's a process that can sometimes take years. President Biden also ordered a review of the previous administration's Remain in Mexico policy, which required people to remain in other countries during their immigration hearing process. The rule affected nearly 70,000 immigrants since 2019.
Okay, so let's see. Apparently, the House of Representatives, the Republicans voted to support Liz Cheney overwhelmingly. It looked like about 2/3 of the people supported Liz Cheney, which again points out who we're dealing with. You know, this is Liz Cheney being the single sitting member of Congress that has profiteered more off the events of 9/11 than any other single sitting member of Congress. That's how horrible a human being Liz Cheney is, and all those people know it, and they all voted to support her. Hello, caller.
Hello.
What's up, G?
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Breaking the flaw.
What's up, Flaw?
Not too much. Yeah, I see that, the Proud Boys and everything being labeled domestic terrorists, but I want to point out that anyone that's defiant to government is going to be considered a domestic terrorist. Doesn't matter what you do.
Everyone is basically considered a potential domestic terrorist, or the wording that they use, potential enemy combatant, meaning everyone, absolutely everyone, meaning, your 12-year-old daughter, in order so that we can spy on their cell phone, we can spy on their internet use, we have to label them this way, and that's the way that the politicians and this government perceive you. So it's not really something new. It's been going on for a long time. But I have been screaming about this again and again. Labeling us terrorists. Terrorist is like the worst thing that you can be. You're better off being a pedophile than a terrorist, because pedophiles get trials. Okay? Terrorists don't get trials. They just get shipped off to Guantanamo Bay.
If we all went to Guantanamo Bay, we basically could just overthrow it, and then we could have our own resort, and it'd be nice.
Well, yeah. It looks like some pretty prime property to me.
It's for sure.
Yeah,
Guantanamo Bay, that sounds luxurious.
Yeah, and those Cuban girls are down, if you know what I mean. They're totally down.
Well, I wanted to mention that the other day I went to the world's largest arcade, Fun Spot in New Hampshire, but not to advertise for them, but it's a great place. I go all the time.
Right on. They have a lot of pinball machines.
Oh yeah, and like a lot of their arcade games, originals, all restored to original specs, and most of the machines there hold the world record. So, including the Donkey Kong. And I was there when the world record holder was there trying to beat his old record, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I was streaming that.
I love pinball machines. I find them.
You would love that. Yeah. Oh, have you ever played the Black Knight pinball machine?
No, I don't think so. Is that a Batman thing?
No. It's like medieval.
Yeah.
Like he's the Black Knight.
Yeah.
He rides on a black horse and he rides through and kills whatever he wants in his path. And it's just this really, really cool themed pinball. Yeah. And they have maybe 4 or 5 different versions of the Black Knight.
Oh,
right?
wow. Cool.
And they all very similar in their gameplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd love that one. So, yeah, they got everything, man.
Yeah, there's one that I think my favorite one is called Demolition Man, and they have pistol grips for the flipper triggers, And it's like
Yeah.
that was always, and because you could really like grab a hold of those pistol and like get the machine going, you know, that was always the
I
coolest
didn't
thing.
see that one there, but they probably have like over 60 pinball machines. I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome,
there's a
dude.
lot.
It sounds like a fun spot for sure.
Yeah. The place is pretty cool. But they, so we went there with over 100 people, maskless, right? We're defying the governor's order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was pretty cool. And and we encouraged basically people that were there to just you have fun.
Yeah.
Take your mask off.
The employees didn't have a problem.
No, actually, Fun Spot has like a thing printed up, and like I guess all businesses have to have something posted about it. But it says, masks are
optional,
are not mandatory, and they kind of make fun of the governor too. And it's like,
wow,
even though we're not gonna say anything, we're not gonna hassle you for not wearing a mask, and that's the only place I have ever seen post something like that. And good for them, And actually, the the New Hampshire slogan, right? Live free or die.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the original owner of Fun Spot is the one that pushed for that slogan in New Hampshire. So he's very liberty oriented, and he doesn't want to ever take away anyone's life and fun and.
So he's not
going
to call the cops on you when you're smoking pot out in the parking lot.
No. But I wouldn't smoke pot in the parking lot.
Well, in the live free or die state, you wouldn't think that would be such a problem, would you?
God, man, we're waiting for it. I go and do like cop blocking and stuff, right? And I go down to Manchester, New Hampshire, and I go to this one bar particularly because there's always like over serving and they get fights and stuff. So I go and film the police and their interaction, make sure they're handling everything civilly. But like it gets crazy, and like I said to this girl, like there was a big fight that broke out, like 12 cops show up, right?
Mm.
And I was like, you're more likely to get into a domestic, like 4 times more likely under alcohol induced versus say cannabis. And I was talking to the patrons, I was like, this fight would never have broken out if this was a cannabis bar.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, this should be a cannabis bar.
That's exactly why they don't want it legal, is because they want us hating on each other instead of coming together to overcome the common enemy.
Oh yeah, like you go to a cannabis bar, you're not going to get assaulted.
It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely you're going to get in a fight. Those people don't really want to fight. If they have to, they will. But particularly, they'd rather just chill.
For sure. Yeah. And tomorrow I'm going to be going live at another maskless event. It's just me going to the grocery store, but supposedly hundreds of people are going to be there.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, Breaking the Flaw, and you guys can talk about it on here.
Right on. What time is that at?
It's 6 to 8 Eastern time.
Cool.
Is when I'll be live.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, guys. Like with all these mandates and everything, I went to CVS yesterday, and I went to go get my prescription. I don't care. I'll talk about my medical conditions, right? But on the air. But when it comes to them, they have to be very precise in what they do. But I went to get my inhaler, and I was wondering if my prescription was ready. She said it was, but then because I wasn't wearing a mask, she was giving me all a hard time. Like I was like, oh, I'm exempt, and she's like, no, there is no exemptions. I'm like, look, the governor's order.
What part of I have to use an inhaler do you not understand, cow?
Right, like I'm here to get an inhaler. She already understands that part.
Yeah.
Right? I went to go, and like she's wondering why I'm not wearing a mask.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Are you really that obtuse?
Give me a fucking break.
But like I have grounds for a lawsuit. I've already talked to a lawyer about it, but she basically told me to leave. And my prescription was ready. I need an inhaler. This cold weather is no joke when it comes to asthma. And so it triggers me and it just doesn't go away. But she's like, come back in 2 hours.
Wow.
I refuse to go back in again. I didn't walk in. I went through the drive-through.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with her again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fucked, man. You know, I don't know if it's, can I swear in here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Fuck. Okay. But
Yeah,
man,
no, that's
you know,
that's horrible, dude. And I'm glad that you have talked to a lawyer, and I hope that you're able to get something out of that. Again,
well, I'm
not
gonna hire a
so
lawyer,
much.
I'm talking to one.
Yeah, not so much, you know, that you're going to get something out of it as that you teach these people a lesson. You know what I mean? That you can't talk to sick people like you're the boss of them. You know, fuck you. They already have enough
like
problems.
CVS is receiving multi-billions of dollars off of this pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And the fact is that they get government subsidies, so they're basically a public entity at this point in some ways.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to, say, health, right? And if you're not teaching or you're not informing your employees, let's just say she was playing ignorant, she actually didn't know the law, well, her superiors are to blame now. And you know, so the next, you know, what's the next step? The superiors didn't teach, you know, didn't get taught well? You know, I don't know. It's just like, you can't just like, you know, take people from the public and start treating them this way. It's no exemptions. I cited the law to her, the ordinance that I don't even freaking abide by anyways. Usually when people question me about it, like to the degree that she was doing, then I bring up the exemptions. Otherwise, I just walk into stores and they go, if someone goes, hey, do you have a mask? I'm like, no, thank you. Have a nice day. And I just walk in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to say shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, people. There's laws about people questioning you. You know, I mean, and there should be. I mean, you shouldn't have to discuss that with whoever wants to fucking question you. You know, so
the law actually says it. The executive order itself says you don't have to explain yourself.
Yeah. So I really do hope that you kind of hold those people accountable, because that's the way to keep them from doing it to other people.
Well, there's plenty of people here in New Hampshire, you know, challenging these systems, and a lot of them do it open carrying.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just like absolute defiance, and that's literally one of the groups I'm involved with.
Well, from what I hear,
defiant.
from what I hear, that they're trying to the government there is trying to make it so that cannabis never becomes legal. So you know, I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but
you know, I am aware of that.
Those people need to be.
It's basically a ticketable offense, 1 ounce or less. And there is actually a dispensary, and I'm actually 2 towns over from it. But the medical is really hard to get, and obviously the prices are through the roof.
That's unfortunate. The price comes way down once it's legalized for about a year. It just drops dramatically. We can get ounces here for $50.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, yeah. And like it's good stuff too. It's like you know, mids or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man, I'm jelly as hell. But actually, we got Maine, so if I ever want to go on vacation,
that's
chill out
cool.
for a little bit.
Maine looks like a nice place to go on vacation.
Yeah, it's a vacation state. Actually, that's a slogan.
It looks like a very nice place to visit. I wouldn't want to do it in the winter though.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I would actually. I like Maine a lot. New Hampshire's beautiful. Actually, New Hampshire's beautiful all year. You know, you come here during the snowiest seasons, it's beautiful. I posted a video of me going through the Kangamangas Highway and going through the notches, like these, like, you know, basically in between the mountains. You guys would probably enjoy the video. It's got some cool techno too.
Right on. Those sound pretty good. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, like just even if you were like visiting New Hampshire, just to drive through like these highways through the mountains is an experience. It's really overwhelmingly powerful, massive mountains around you. Just like if you say you're driving in Colorado or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been to New Hampshire, but it you know, I love the motto. It's, you know, when I don't go to places where marijuana is not legal. I'm just not interested at all in doing that.
No, I feel you on that. You know, I don't want to go to states where guns are very restrictive.
Yeah.
That's really the I don't even want to go to any other state anymore. I mean, Maine's nice.
Yeah.
Vermont actually has really loose gun control laws, you can still put a shotgun or a rifle in the back window and drive around.
Yeah.
In Vermont.
Yeah. Well, you can
can't do
you can
that, like,
open
you can't
carry.
do it in New Hampshire.
You can open carry here. I don't know about driving around with it or whatever, but I know you can open carry in this state, and there's lots of other states where you can open carry.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, New Hampshire is the least restrictive on what can and cannot be open carried. So, yeah.
Sweet.
There's a lot of guns up here, guys. I'm telling you.
There's a lot of guns everywhere, man. That's why I keep saying, people are like, oh, they're going to try and take our guns. No, they're not. And what do you mean they're not? Well, they can't take our guns. Why can't they take our... Because we have guns.
I just say, hey, look, if it comes down to a battle, doesn't matter how many guns you have, they're going to take you out with a drone strike.
They really haven't done that in this state, except for in Dallas, I believe they did that. There was that one shooter that they had holed up in a like a parking garage, and they took a remote control car and stuck a bomb to it, and then I consider that, and then drove it up to him and blew it up. I consider that to be a drone strike, the first one. And
I know, absolutely, yeah. Well, anything that's like improvised and like there's no level ground, where I don't know I don't know what you're referring to, but that sounds very like tactical, like they had to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have a video, first police to drone strike in the United States. You can look it up. That's the title. First police to drone strike in the United States. All right, bro. It was good to hear from you.
Hey,
go ahead.
Can I go one more thing about the Proud Boys?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the Proud Boys are a little ridiculous. Always have been, always will be. They came to Providence, Rhode Island once for a rally, and just their presence, well, they didn't strike first, honestly. The Antifa started throwing punches first, but, Proud Boys are kind of cowardly, in my opinion.
I don't really know any of them. I don't know anybody who would label themselves a Proud Boy. But it's not the point of whether they're ridiculous or whatever it is that they are. The point is that, if they labeled them terrorists, and they're not blowing anything up, they're not setting anything on fire, they're not burning crosses on people's lawns, and they're labeled terrorists, then, we're next down the line somewhere. There's just no doubt about it. And it's just simply for speaking our minds,
Yeah, like I went to the library today, and they gave me a pass to hold while in the library and walk around. I was like, the first thing I asked her was like, "Can you tell me where the World War II section is?" And she's like, "Upstairs." And I go, "Okay." And then I go up there, and I'm live streaming this whole thing. And I go, "All right, I want to file this right here, history of the Jews." And it was, I shouldn't have to have a number identifying me to walk through a library.
Well, yeah, especially if you already have a cell phone, and they're following you everywhere you go and listening to everything you do on the cell phone. Whether you're on the cell phone or not, they're listening to everything you say. They're following you everywhere you go. So yeah, you shouldn't have to have a number on top of that. It's not like you need another one.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to curb that a little bit. I've been using encrypted messaging services to make called calls. Right now, I don't have to because I'm making a public call, right?
Yeah.
But I find it, very important to keep you guys selves anonymous and encrypted. Look into it, guys.
I think it's.
We gotta stay ahead of the curve of their tyranny.
Yeah, the tyranny. This is all that matters. Either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand on the side of the police state, and you can hear it in every caller, and you can hear it in every congressperson's voice, and you can hear it in every news media person's voice. Okay, either you stand on the side of freedom or you stand with the police state, and it's okay if you stand with the police state. Just admit it. Just admit that freedom isn't that important to you. Okay?
I mean, if I get close enough, I can smell the leather on their breath from licking boots all day, but...
Yeah. Just admit it. Just admit that freedom isn't that important to you so that in your soul you can feel that pain. Okay? Because you should wear it. You should own it. That's who you are. You should own it. All right, bro.
Absolutely, man. Stay free, guys.
Yeah.
Stay free, man.
All right, it's good to hear from you.
You too, man.
All right.
Peace out.
Okay, so I'm out of videos. Craig, got any phone callers? No phone callers. So I'm hungry. So I'm gonna go get some food. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. And we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel, and I hope we see you there. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is gonna end.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.